start. Could stand it for long, I guess. Also, he apparently can't go out to in the rain. He's like a vampire. This is why Batman sucks. His villains are tragic and should get mental health treatments, but knows he but no, he wants to buy tanks and drones to beat up the poor. True. Indeed, true. Anyway, let's get to briefly. We talk about the selective service system. Selective service system wants to war game the draft. Love that. Fearing that its new planned U.S. military draft pool won't work, Selective Service System wants to create a computer simulation to test scenarios for its national mobilization. The readiness simulation project comes as the U.S. government is about to change its draft registration system. Interesting. Since 1940, men within a designated age range have been required to register for the Selective Service, but under a new proposed rule, men aged 18 to 26 will be automatically registered. Yes! Wait, no! Wait, is it inclusive? I mean, it probably is inclusive. Dang it! I'll be 26 years old. I thought I skirted by. Dang it! I'll be 26. I'll be in school though. They can't draft me. So I'll be chilling. Starting on December 19, 2026. The service system will work off the data contained within other federal databases. Questions remain about how prepared the selected service system is to handle the change. I would not title it the SSS. I don't think you need to abbreviate anything with multiple S's in it, personally. Currently relies on manual analysis, legacy model approaches, and outdated assumptions, and historical data sets that do not fully reflect the modern demographics, communication channels, through throughput constraints. Yeah, who cares? The deadline for vendors to propose their simulation models is August 14th. Yo, I'm gonna build my own model, chat. I'm gonna build my own model. It's gonna be like register everybody except for people named Sean. That's my model. That's my proposed model. They should definitely go with it. The computer simulation will explore multiple areas. These includes evaluating staffing and resource requirements, comparing mobilization and police scenarios, and assessing the operational impact of surge conditions. Yada yada. Who cares? Boring, boring, boring. This sucked. Anyway, no, it does not include the incorrect spelling of Sean. It has to be spelled correctly, like SEAN. This is all BS fluff to say that they want AI. I think AI is a part of it, but I think it's mostly that. I think it's mostly that one they're going to dip into other databases to pull people. You know, like they're gonna be like they're like, oh, we're gonna dip into like Social Security, not Social Security specifically, but if you're paying in Social Security, we're dipping into that. If you have student loans, we're gonna dip into that. So if you are tied to any government database, or to any government entity, then they can dip into that to get you for the draft, which I think would also include if you're paying taxes, right? So if you are like on a green card or whatever, I don't know if that's like how that would work particularly, but like, if you are 18 years old or 19 years old and you have like a tax ID number that you pay taxes through, then you can also be drafted. Social media too. Meta and X will happily give info to the feds. I mean, sure, but like this is specifically talking about like I don't doubt that will happen, but this is specifically about like if you are attached to any government entity, right? So if you have like a social security card or if you have any government entity, and so like there I think historically for the draft there are people who fell through the cracks. Like if you were like born on a farm and you never got like a social security card or whatever, and like people didn't really know you existed, and you kind of grew up like that, like you never got drafted, right? But if you ever got any benefits from the government, if you've ever been registered in any way for the government, like you're gonna be thrown into the same pool, so they don't have people falling through the cracks. But we'll see what this actually means in the future. Do I think they're actually going to draft? Probably not. I don't think, at least in this current like iteration of like the U.S. So there's actually going to be a draft. Right now, there is a recruitment crisis for like future military endeavors. Right now, they have enough people to kind of satisfy anything they're trying to do currently. But again, if things pop off and like they go to war with like freaking China or something, which, again, I don't think will happen. Then like maybe a draft would be necessary. You're not getting me though. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. You're not getting me. Because you're already in selected service to get driver's license. I don't know if it's nationwide. Jeez Louise. Anyway, sorry. I have the hiccups. I'm reading through all the non like important news or whatever first. You should see this Kotaku article that was kind of funny. I have hiccups. Kotaku releases a controversial article on Mushoku Tensei. In it, they said there is a pedophilic elephant in the room that we have to address. The author of this group, this grooming-based harem story disguised as a fantasy isekai, has either refused or forgotten to give Rudius, who is the main character, a comeuppance for their crimes, for these crimes, and instead rewards him for them. If you really need to watch an isekai, watch just if you really need a new isekai to watch, just watch Reborn as a vending machine instead. It's not good, but at least the vending machine isn't a sex criminal. This is kind of funny. It was kind of funny because we just talked about this, like, excuse me, we just talked about this like last stream. We literally just talked about this last stream. What a Mystery clears. What a Mystery is kind of boring. Just, but like this is exactly what we're talking about with Supreme Magus, which is also it's a light novel or like web novel or whatever. And it's the exact same thing. Like it's a main character who is isekai'd into this world who has like the world has loose morals already, but they do like terrible stuff that is even bad for the world they get put into. But all of that is just kind of like washed away. It's like swept under the rug, and there's like no, no comeuppance, to use their word, for no accountability, if you will, for their behavior. And Rudius is a perfect example of this because like he's like a 40-year-old like shut it guy who is like just being like doing things that are like even in the world that they're set in is like this is kind of bad, and he just never got any like there's no accountability for that. Like nobody ever positions him as being wrong. Excuse me. Within the narrative doesn't position him as being like wrong or incorrect for what he does. Like it never even floats the idea like, hey, maybe it's kind of weird that this person who's like 40 years old in the body of a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old is wrong for being like a little sex pest. The narrative like kind of like validates his behavior. So it's probably the water, but I have hiccups like really badly. There's a new Lanterns trailer as well. But what is happening? I'm trying to find something that I could play really quickly. Ooh, okay. I also want to talk about this Omizi video. Not the video itself, but like what was going on here. Right? Because there's so much stuff with like Streaming University. And there's like a bunch of different stuff. So I don't watch anime. I have a spoonful of sugar for hiccups. I don't want to go downstairs. I want to hold my breath for like 30 minutes. Okay, like 2 minutes. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff from Streamer University that I want to cover, and then there's stuff that happened after Streamer University that I also want to cover. But I'm gonna play this for a minute while I hold my breath.
Destroy each other's setups event is happening right now, and boy, this one is one for the books.
Now you're gonna learn a lesson. Y'all done? Are y'all done?
It's content.
Are y'all done? It's content.
Come on, bro.
Oh
Bro, that's over some water again.
What happened? You wanna throw a pot?
Stop playing
You wanna throw a pot? Yes or no?
It's content. It's just content.
Hey guys!
No, chill.
Stop playing. Stop playing.
Okay,
Stop playing.
chill.
What about that? Stop playing. Stop playing with me, alright?
Chill.
Alright?
From milk dumping to pouring water on people's head to breaking somebody's PC, it can be all dubbed for laughs and giggles. But there was something that was said throughout this entire interaction that made me start to question all of it.
Are y'all done?
It's content.
Are y'all done? It's content.
It's content.
I almost made it the full minute. I almost had it. I was right there. Ugh. Okay.
It's just content. I spit on you, it's content. I smack you, it's content. It's content. Everybody say fuck, it's content. Fuck family, it's content.
Suddenly, it started to all make sense to me, and it seems as though we need to study what is content and what's not content. At some point, it started to look like it was very much not content. If you're new to this and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's gonna go a long way for the channel. You like content, I like content. Don't make me make content out of you if you don't subscribe. Now, back into the video.
Money is power again.
My setup, bro. Stop, bro. My setup. Now, come on.
You look like that guy off the one that started with a P from the Milk movie.
Oh my! No, you're a demon.
Now, I don't understand when milk became the go-to dump on your friends, funny, hee-hee, laughing moment of the slumber party. Back in my day, it used to simply be water. If we were ever to dare waste milk, I think our moms would have put belts to our back like crazy. But it seems as though this
Like
is the
milk
new
also spoils. So if there's a spot that you miss, it's gonna start smelling like spoiled milk. Right? Water is fine because water will evaporate. I can't even speak. Evaporate. Like even if you miss it, you can't see it anymore or whatever. Right? It won't stay on you. Right? You're just a little bit wet and it's uncomfortable. I still think it's like as content, bottom of the barrel. Like, personally, I think it is bottom of the barrel as it pertains to content. But like, again, it's spectacle. And spectacle always needs to be one-upped. First it starts with water, then it goes to like milk, then it's like hot sauce. Now it's like, oh, hot sauce in your eyes. And now it's like, oh, now we're destroying people's setups. And oh, now we're doing this, and then we're doing that, and we're doing this, we're doing that. It can also stink, to be honest, if you don't clean it. Well, it depends on how much water it is, right? Also, where it goes. Like if water gets in, like if it's enough water that it doesn't like evaporate easily, and it stands, right? You have like sitting water in a place you can't reach that it's like, dark. Then yeah, it can grow mold, right? But like by and large, it's better than like having like food and milk and like substances that will also grow mold, right? As well as like make a mess, and it's all bottom of the barrel content, but it's still gross.
New reoccurring theme when it comes to content creation is the milk of it all, so you kind of just gotta roll with it. What really sparked this situation is when this streamer, Kello, dumped milk on the bed of another member of the content creation house, the Clover Boys. Now, I'm pretty sure it does exist because this would be the only reason why I could think that it would be considered content, but I can't find the video of the actual incident in and of itself. But naturally, while you're away and somebody dumps milk on your bed, when you come back, that would piss people off to an extreme degree.
You know KC3 was in the chat telling me to do it, right?
It's a joke. It's a joke. You so mad. It's a joke. It's a joke. Now niggas don't play like that. Word of my mother, you threw. I bet. What about my mother? You threw water on me when it was 25x sleepover. You threw water on me.
You scared me ass nigga in front of a camera talking to me. Come
well.
on the camera.
Yeah. You wait. So.
Camera.
You want me to pick your sheets or no?
Later that night, Dez, the streamer who got the milk poured on their bed, would go on to elaborate and explain how he was always getting pushed too far, that this wasn't right, and ultimately people using the words content is an excuse for taking accountability for what they did.
But you wanna paint me like I'm a bad guy. No, tell the truth in this world. It's a lot of funny shit and weird behind the scenes shit that go on this content shit in this crib. Niggas is goofy, gang. Stop trying me. Stop playing with me, gang. I respect niggas. I protect
I do
niggas.
love that they put Kai's brother in basically in a closet. It was like you can stream from like right here. He doesn't even have like a room or anything like that. Yeah, not even a guest room in this mansion or anything. It's like you could stream from like this small closet space, this little area here. That's kind of funny.
I never neglect niggas. Niggas is goofy, gang. Well, mother life, nigga. Niggas is pussy, gang. Niggas is crazy, gang. Well, mother life, he's trying to show up for y'all, gang.
Also, again, do you know what I told you before about Streaming University? About how like the streamers who are there are going to emulate what other streamers are doing to get successful. Right? We spend the entire year before Streaming University talking about stuff like this happening and being like, that's crazy. Stuff like this happened and being like, that's crazy. And then why are we surprised when they're doing that at Streaming University, where all these streamers are also there? Because that's what gets the views. That's what gets the attention. Also, my hiccups are gone, bro. I haven't hiccuped in like 3 minutes. That has literally never worked for me before, by the way. You know, at some point in regular life, you realize how much hard work it took for your friends to build that they got. Imagine if you start making a lot of money right out the high school, you might not have learned that boundary. I mean, but we realize that your friends have made the money the exact same way that you're making your money, right? It's just like your friends got famous off of doing a Ponzi scheme, and then they get mad at you for starting your own Ponzi scheme. Like, that's how Kai got famous. It is. It's how Kai got famous. It's how Rakai got famous, right? Even before like Kai, it's like how Speed got famous off of like the spectacle and off of the. It's how Aiden got famous, right? And even before that, it's just kind of like this was happening at like shit camp with XQC and Myth. Like, they weren't like jumping milk on each other, but they were doing pranks and stuff. Like, it's the same type of content that it just keeps getting repeated over and over and over and over again. But every iteration down the line, it gets more and more and more violent. The spectacle increases, boundaries get pushed because you need to keep breaking the barrier in order to make to get attention and make money. So before it was like, oh, we just, you know, we dropped the water balloon on Greg when he was sleeping, LOL. Then it was like, oh, now we dropped the water balloon that had milk in it on Greg. Now it's like, oh, now we dropped the water balloon that had hot sauce in it on top of Greg. Now we dropped a tub, an entire tub, you know, on Greg of whipped cream or something. Like, did we realize that like how David Dobrik got sued from Jeff Wittek because he caused Jeff to crash into a crane? It's spectacle content that just keeps getting hammed up over and over and over and over and over again, and it will keep happening, right? So long as the audiences keep watching it. There's a demand for this kind of content, and if the audience really hates this content, they have to stop watching it. If the audience really dislikes the fact that like these millionaires are destroying their own property for laughs and giggles, like. People are like yelling at like Kai's brother for doing this.
I have a one lesson.
Right? But like Lacey was literally doing this like 2 months ago. Lacey and Jason literally did this. it's like it's slightly different because like they weren't like trying to like like, attack somebody. Kai's brother, like Kai Cenat. People said he was Kai Cenat's brother. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just gonna go with it. But like it's like this.
Let me put the steppers on, bro. Your Valencia boots not doing shit. Oh my god. You idiot. What the f are you thinking? Putting all this straight and coming and it's saying, oh my.
Like this is not like the context may be slightly different. This is not meaningfully different than like this type of concept.
Y'all done? Are y'all done?
You know what I mean? It's like it's similar in the vein that it's based in like haha destroying property for content. You feel me? Now I have a take. And my take is I think that the FaZe Boys get away with it because in the same way, the way that like the Clover Boys and like Rakai and Dez and Tyler don't get away with it because they're black. I think people have a lot to say about Streamer University, right? And the people who are at Streamer University, the same people who had nothing to say about when the FaZe was doing this stuff like that. One, because FaZe is their friends, but two, because I think they're black. I think that's a big part of it. You playing the Avatar Fighter? I downloaded it. I don't know if I like it yet. I have to keep playing it a little bit more. Right? I think they both suck. I think they're both bottom of the barrel content that suck. You feel me? But it's not like the FaZe Boys are not far removed. Do you agree the Clover Boys are a bit more aggressive with theirs? No! The idea that they're more aggressive is based and rooted in anti-blackness. Like the FaZe Boys did literally the exact same content. They both did like the war content where like they would be destroying the property and like shooting each other with gel blasters and stuff. FaZe did it. FaZe did it as well. It was literally the exact same thing. Like bar none. Like one group stole it from another group. Where is it at? Let me see. We started a FaZe house war.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like those.
Should I figure out, show you where like people getting like thrown into pools.
My boy. In the world, yeah, we on that too.
When they turned into night, it became insane. Where's it at?
You're dead, bro.
Niggas not coming outside and we have no guns.
Firestar throws rocks at Jason's windows.
I don't know if it might be empty. No, it's not.
They're breaking windows. They're storming in with like BB guns. It's the same content. It's the same content. You know what I mean? Is it worse in my opinion? I don't even think it's worse. I think it's literally the exact same thing. Like it is like they're both the exact same thing. Exact same thing.
Hey, y'all out of ammo now.
It is the exact same thing.
Freeze that shit up.
Right? And because like AMP did the same thing as well.
Chris? That's not, no, it's another Chris.
Let's see.
Another
I don't think this is what I care about. Like, it's in order. It's this literally the same concept. Duke Dennis burns my $1,600 sneakers live.
$1,600 sneakers.
How much you go for?
$1,600.
Bro, send him an invoice.
Bro.
Send him an invoice.
Bro, all because he said.
Flashback.
You're done horrendous.
Hey, Kai.
Yo.
Hey, can I borrow your shoes to do
It's the same kind of content. You know what I mean? This was 5 years ago. This is what Kai. This has 100,000 views. This is before Kai was popping. You know what I mean? This is what Kai was doing before he was like the #1 streamer in like America. Right? It was the same sort of like, you know, we do prank wars at each other, and we're setting fireworks off in my room, and we're destroying each other's setups, and where's that? I don't know how to get rid of this Ask YouTube button, but I don't care about Ask YouTube.
You don't know how to cook either, dumbass.
You too.
You don't know who took their time with these trees. You mini ass.
Right, but do you understand what I'm saying?
You're doing.
Storm, I'm at the storm. All right. Storm, I'm waiting for you. Oh, you got that right? No, don't worry about it. I got that shit. Nigga, don't worry about it. Go. Let me talk. We not doing that. Let me talk. We not doing any of that. What the fuck I want?
Right? So again, my point is that why, right? Why would they be doing this? Why would the Clover Boys be doing this? Why would Kai's brother be doing this here? It's because Kai's brother saw Kai doing this when he was growing, right? When his brother has 3,000 viewers, he's going to do what Kai did when he had 3,000 viewers, right? It goes for every other streamer, those who are at Streamer University and not at Streamer University. Because that's what people watch, because that's what people want. We had the infamous fireworks scene. Yeah, we had the fireworks scene. We looked at it like a few streams ago as well. But that's what people like want to see. That's what people are watching. So of course they're going to replicate that. You know what I mean?
For taking accountability for what they did.
But you wanna paint me like I'm a bad guy. No, tell the truth in this world. It's a lot of funny shit and weird behind the scenes shit that go on this content shit in this crib. Niggas is goofy, gang. Stop trying me, stop playing with me, gang. I respect niggas, I protect niggas, I never neglect niggas. Niggas is goofy, gang. My mother life, nigga. Niggas is pussy, gang. Niggas is crazy, gang. My mother life, and he's trying to show up for y'all, gang. And if I'm telling y'all, I don't care about the L's, about none of that shit. I don't care about the weird. I don't care about none of that shit. I swear to God, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I literally understand this shit is all like simulation, gang. I literally sit here and let niggas try to like manipulate me like I'm on some fucked up shit. I'm not a fucked up individual, gang. At all, gang. I don't touch niggas shit. Yo, my nigga, y'all niggas know I couldn't come to Clover Crib for 2 months. I couldn't come to Clover Crib for 2 months because that nigga was in his feelings, you heard? I couldn't come to Clover Crib for 2 months. Niggas stole my camera. Niggas stole my mic. Niggas stole mad shit.
Now the problem doesn't have anything to do with the milk of it all. I'm assuming that none of these guys.
Why couldn't he go into? Does he not live there? So they kicked him out of his own house. At that point, do you think like maybe I'm not surrounded by the best group of people? You know what I mean? Like if you're in that situation, at what point do you think like, maybe I need a better group of friends that won't kick me out of my own house, right? That I make my money in because they feel some type of way.
Are lactose intolerant. Otherwise, that would be a pretty big issue. But it's the fact that people keep deciding when to respect somebody else's boundaries and using the content house and it's just content of it all as an excuse in order to do whatever, whenever, to whomever, no matter what. Based off of the way that Dez reacted in this clip, I don't think that this was just one isolated incident. It almost seems like a final straw. The moment that somebody has to explain why they're allowed to be upset, and you've most likely already missed the point in the whole thing. To me, this is the problem with the disruptive and disrespectful nature of streaming and how some people are going about it. We'll get into further detail a little bit later in the video, but ultimately the tables have a turning problem. They're not sitting on 4 legs. This excuse of, hey, it only being content and all this other stuff like that is flawed, because when those tables do get to turning, let's see if you feel the same exact way.
Why would I close my eyes being damn like that? And the fuck? And what
Listen, bro, let's take our own crib, bro. Fuck it, bro.
Gang, like, bro, come on, it's content, gang.
Like, that's what I'm saying, though. Like,
Botting a nigga stream is insane, gang. Nah.
I dead ass love y'all, bro. No funny shit. The fact that y'all understand, like, what am I saying?
that's what I'm saying, though.
I'm in this crib to make content and not step on nobody's toes, gang. Fuck. All I do is try to make my own shit, do my own thing, stay in my own lane, build my own name, gang. That's it. I apologize if I made a nigga cry over $300 sheets, nigga.
We should be moving to LA, bro. Now it's time up. It's time for the LA run, bro.
What's that one song? It's a thin line between love and hate. There's a thin line between content and disrespect. And most of the time that line gets crossed when you are ultimately the target. After elaborating why he feels justified in his actions, it would only make sense for the rest of the house to realize that, hey, maybe Kello is into this type of stuff. Maybe this is what he views as content. Now, for what it's worth, I don't think that a lot of them subscribe to this because they've been a part of these house wars before and they understand how deep that it can get. But ultimately, this newer person to the group and collective as it sits may have to learn this lesson. And so whenever Clover House member Tylil dumps water on him, it almost seems as though we could have expected this to happen.
Let me see you take it off. With these bad
That's true. I will say it's crazy that they put him in a little corner. I still say it. He's on a little folding chair. He's on a little folding chair. That's so messed up. That's crazy. But that's kind of the point, right? Is that like, if it is just content, you can't be mad when somebody just contents you back, you know? I think it's bottom of the barrel, and I think it's dumb, and I think it's stupid. But when you engage with it and you put yourself in that space, how are you surprised about that being, like, it seems like he's supposed to be the punching bag, and he doesn't know that. I mean, maybe. They're doing this on the wooden floor hurts the most. I mean, I don't think, I don't know what Kai's brother's name is. I keep calling him Kai's brother. You know what? I will still keep calling him Kai's brother. I don't think he even like, cares that much. Kello? No, he's Kai's brother to me.
You ain't never average.
The logic was used against him. The hypocrisy was exposed almost immediately. And so while Kello was claiming that he wanted Dez to just laugh it off because it was just content, ultimately he could not do the exact same thing. And the escalation proved the point as to why this isn't a mentality that you would think to keep when it comes to this content creation stuff. This is how this culture spreads. Instead of recognizing the boundaries, everyone keeps pushing and pushing and pushing it because the reactions make for better content. Nobody stopped to ask, you know, hey, maybe we've gone too far. And now with the gloves pulled off, it seems like a no holds barred race to see who can do the worst thing to each other and then try to use it's just content as some sort of bandage for it all.
Y'all done?
That's a strong door, though. Am I crazy?
Are y'all done?
It's content.
Are y'all done? It's content. Y'all done?
It's content now. This is content house. What is not content? Tying you up is not content.
Oh my God, Tyler.
I asked my two questions. Is tying you up not content?
Tyler, yes.
Tying you up is content. Throwing water on your face is not content. So what's the problem?
Alright, so then what I'm about to do is content. Alright, but
Yo. Credit where credit's due. Those are crazy reflexes. I gotta give him credit on that. Like, that is some crazy reflexes, bro. That's wild. That's wild. As the difference between AMP, at least they at least stopped to figure out if it was too far. Like they seem to actually care. I mean, I think that's your own personal perspective on it. Like, I don't think. Again, I think that this exact same thing has happened with AMP and with FaZe, now Core or whatever. Like, they've all pushed boundaries until somebody was like, it is too far, and then they walk it back. Right? The problem is that nobody ever sits back and thinks, is this actually content? Who is this for? Can we make our content without putting each other, right, at risk? It's one of those WoW replica type things. I mean, it's obviously not a real axe. It can still do damage though. You see how it's hitting that door? You're making that loud noise. At least it's a solid piece of plastic for the most part. What do you mean now, Core? The Core boys. They're not FaZe anymore. FaZe. I don't even know if FaZe is still around. What has happened with FaZe? Hold on, let me check. FaZe. Are they still around? What are they doing? FaZeClan.com. People. I mean, they have no, Holy! Yo, they have so many alumni. I saw this, I was like, man, that's a lot of people still in FaZe. Right? There are no content creators, except for this person, apparently, who's a content creator. But then I went to alumni, and it kept going. And it kept going. And it kept going. It kept going. That's so many people. Anyway, sorry, not the point.
Alright, so then what I'm about to do is content. Alright, but
He just kind of gave up. He's like, oh, well, my attack didn't work. It's ineffective. I guess this. Where does this leave us? Like, that's really funny.
then what I'm about to do is content. Alright, but I'm out, gang. Alright, caught that. Alright, and I also caught you. Alright, man, sit up over.
What the hell was that? Is Tylil a damn ninja? That was the most impressive shit I've ever seen. What was that? What's the boundaries?
It was kind of cool. Okay, I gotta give him credit on that. It was kind of cool. It was kind of sick.
Appear, then retaliation becomes the new rule. Everybody feels as though getting even is the correct answer. That's how milk becomes water, water becomes milk, and all of that gets turned into property damage and physical fights. Nobody actually wanted the situation to end. Nobody's teaching anybody a lesson. People wanted to just win in all of it.
That ass out playing me, ain't like the roots off.
Oh, they got him a new chair.
Oh.
I do appreciate Streamer Phantom for coming down the hill and stepping into the situation, because as somebody who has also been in a similar situation with his fellow Content House member Agent, I can totally understand how he understands that, hey, even if this was at one point content, hell, it may still be content, this can impact off-camera dynamics. And while I do agree that, you know, pouring milk and, you know, pouring water and hell, even property damage to an extent is some sort of content thing that has been normalized over the past couple of years, ultimately, I do see this as a problem that we have in content creation and streaming culture as a whole. Escalation gets rewarded. If every bigger reaction gets more views, then eventually someone is going to push until they can't push no more. They see the clips.
I mean, that's kind of how you got Kick, you know? Thankfully, Kick is kind of like floundering because they have nothing going on right now. They stopped trying to poach talent. But Kick existed because people kept pushing, and Twitch eventually stepped in and was like, no. Like, once it stops making money, and if you aren't making them money, they will ban you. You know what I mean?
Videos, they see what gets people coming to their stream, and they know that it is escalation on top of escalation on top of escalation. And I'm not talking about just the streamers that are in Clover House. I'm talking about the people that consume streaming and want to be streamers and content creators, full stop. This is why, and we talked about it in a previous video, you saw people go to Streamer University and say to themselves, hey, let me just go out there, disrespect anybody and everybody, and do whatever the hell I want to do. The reason why is because the game has been told and put in front of them by people who are bigger than them. And ultimately, there's a disconnect from them understanding that, hey, these people have maybe a personal relationship and that's why they can get this stuff off, or hey, they're bigger than me and they've already put some sweat equity in and maybe that's why they can get stuff off. But ultimately, people are just saying, hey, do the craziest boundary pushing and disrespecting thing and ultimately you'll get viewers. Ultimately, the Clover crash out.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they are validated by that because they are getting viewers, right? This is only stop if people stop collaborating with them. But that's not going to happen, right? Because there's a level of solidarity between streamers, well, with the person within the same house, but also of a certain size. Because they realize that, like, if I let you do this to me right now, then I can do it back to you later on. And it's good for both of us. the audience sees that and they're like, yes, please give me more. I love this like WWE style dynamics that I'm seeing. Right? It's all entertainment for them. And nobody at any point steps back and thinks, is this damaging? Is this harmful? You know? Is that an issue? Also, did y'all see that one streamer guy who claims that he's not getting botted? You feel me?
Wasn't important because computers got broken. Those things can be replaced in almost 0 seconds. I know that there's several places in Atlanta where they can just go and pick up a BC. It was ultimately important because it exposed the mentality that's been growing in streaming culture for the past couple of years.
Are y'all done?
It's content.
Are y'all done? It's content.
It's content. It's just content. I spit on you, it's content. I smack you, it's content. It's content. It's content. It's content.
3 words that have been slowly used as a way to avoid accountability whenever someone feels disrespect. And the scary part of it all is that younger creators are watching this happen in real time. And ultimately, I think that these rewards are louder than the backlash and criticism that comes on the end of using it's just content as a way to avoid accountability. The problem isn't content in and of itself. The problem is believing that the camera changes the rules, because eventually someone stops treating it like content and starts treating it like real life. Cameras do have to go off eventually after all.
Yeah, here I want to see the that one guy. Ow. Here, because I think this is what I saw.
Keep telling me, suburb baby, why are you botting? Why are you botting? Goofy bitch. First off, I don't know how to bot. Second off,
to be fair, all botters say they don't know how to bot. So I'm not saying he's botting. I'm saying all botters say they don't know how to bot.
I did. How the fuck would I do it now? I would have been did that shit. And nigga, botting don't even make you no fucking money. I ain't never been no nigga to fake no fucking views, bitch. If I'm being botted, nigga, it's not fucking me. God damn. Like what?
When botting,
for the niggas who know how bots work, every nigga know someone can be botted by someone else. Why the fuck I'm gonna use my energy and time to bot myself? Bitch, I was at 40 viewers for the longest. Why I'm gonna bot myself now? Like what? If I'm being botted, bitch, it's not me.
This guy before.
And if you're botting me, you're fucking.
How many views did he bot for himself? Again, I don't know if he's botting himself. I think he's being botted at the very least. He's at like 70,000 viewers concurrently. He's at like 50,000 when he sleeps. Like, he has higher viewership than like every member of AMP that's not named Kai Cenat. Right? He was at 1,000 before Streamer University. And Streamer University can do a lot for you. It's not getting you 70,000 average concurrent viewers consistently. It's just not doing that. I don't care how like funny and awesome you are. You feel me? It's not doing that. It's not. Again, I don't know if he's botting himself, right? I can see a world where he's not botting. Like I'm not saying that he's doing the botting and stuff, or whatever. But there's no shot he's at like 70,000 organic viewers. Right? It would be one thing if he had that when he was at Streamer University. But like after leaving, he's pulling in higher numbers than that would put him at rank number 2, maybe 3 in the country. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but going from 1K to being ranked number 2 in the country with like 0, like it was 0 time in between that. I think there's some amount of botting there. Right? Again, I don't think it's him. Or I don't know if it's him. But then there also is reasons why he would bot, even if it didn't make him money. You know, people bot because it puts them higher in the directory. Twitch shows you the people who have the most viewers. As a Stream University drafts, some botting started before that. All of his numbers look organic. Yeah, it's just like I think a lot of people who are defending him in the comments and replies to this tweet. I think a lot of people just don't know how Twitch works. Like, oh, he got 70,000 followers from that. I'm like, that's we're saying that all stream every time he streams, 10% of the people that followed him from Stream University are watching him at any given time. That is lunacy, and not how that works. So not 70,000. It's 700,000. 700,000. It was 700,000 followers. I was just like, that's just not how that works. 6,000 viewers, 9K chatters. To be fair, this extension is notoriously unreliable. Right? It is notoriously unreliable, but like, I mean, even like 10,000, like 10,000 subs isn't even like proportional to having 70,000 viewers. You know what I mean? Hassan has like 30,000, right? 25, 30,000 viewers. He has like 50,000 subs. 5 times the amount of subs for like half to a third of this viewership. Like it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. There's a big difference in content and audience. Yeah, but like it's not proportional to anybody. You can look at like freaking like Ron. Or you know, Jinxie's right here. Who averages 50,000 viewers. He's ranked number 3. Ranked number 3, 50,000 average viewers, 40,000 average viewers, right? And he has 84,000 active subs. Do you know what that makes? You see what I'm saying? Right? He has half the viewership, average viewership that this guy gets. It has 8 times the subs. We can look at freaking Lacey or whatever. Lacey has 30,000 viewers, 40,000 viewers, right? 17,000 subs. So Lacey has, again, half the viewership and 1.7 times the amount of subs. Right? You have freaking, I don't know, Jason. Jason's at 25,000, 20,000 subs. It's just not, it's not proportional. That makes sense? It's just not. So again, I'm not, and then look at this guy who's, he's ranked number 5, chat. Right, he was averaging 300 viewers last month. 42 viewers the month before that. 47 the month before that. 56 the month before that. 49 the month before that. 84. And now he's ranked 5 in the world. Again, he gained 700,000 followers. You feel me? So that's not nothing. He gained 700,000 followers. But like he's maxing out at 100,000 viewers in the last 3 streams. And then before that, 100K, 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 100K. This was during Stream University though. Afterwards, it was like 89K, 62K, right? Max. Right? Averaging 80,000 viewers. Again, I'm not saying that this is impossible. You feel me? I'm not saying this is impossible. I'm just saying that like, why does he have a clip that says Raj Patel? His subs just aren't proportional to his subs don't show up here because he's so new to the thing. $1.5 subs on YouTube. What do you mean 1.5? 1.5 thousand? He's very big on Instagram. Shoot, sorry. He's very big on Instagram. You're 1.5 million on Instagram or on YouTube. But also 20K, 30K, 3.9K, 62K, 70K. This is not like, what is the most popular videos? Okay, they're like skits from last year. That makes sense then. There's no way someone with 50 viewers can afford to buy that much. But if he denies that he's getting bought, it's sus. No, he's very big on other platforms. He's not poor. Chat. He's massive on other platforms. He has 4 million on Instagram, 1.5 million on YouTube. Right? He has 4.3 million on TikTok. You feel me? It's just did YouTube audience discover the suddenly streamed? I think that's a part of it. I think that's how we went from like getting 42, 300 average viewers to getting, 10K real viewers, right? But it's not like he just started, streaming. He's been streaming for the last 2 years to 16, 21. You know what I mean? He's been streaming for the last 2 years with having this huge audience size. I don't know. 80K is just kind of steep. 80K is just kind of steep. It is kind of steep. Probably got to 300 after promoting his stream for Streamer U. A lot of celeb streams 200 people for months. Yeah, because it's so hard to grow on Twitch, which is why going from 300 to 83,000 is not organic. If it was 300, he went up to even 50K for Streaming University, but then it dropped down again after Streaming University. If that was the case, it would be one thing. It didn't. He keeps going up after Streaming University. He's getting the same viewership, right? The exact same viewership, 79K. Excuse me, he got 91,000 viewers. He has more viewership after Streamer University than he did while he was at the event. Right? He had 100K average viewers. He had 100K viewers in 2 minutes after starting his stream. Kai doesn't even get these. Okay, maybe Kai does sometimes. But when Kai was streaming, Kai would peak at 70K, 60K when he first started. Right? Here, we'll go to when Kai was actually streaming. We'll pick this Elden Ring stream. Or this is a marathon. It's not fair. Go to this random stream. This is still a Minecraft marathon, so also not necessarily fair. Does Kai have any regular streams? Here. Yeah, for Kai Cenat, it took him at least 10 minutes to get up to 100K. Right? Before eventually falling off and doing something else. In February of 2024. He's pulling in bigger numbers than Kai Cenat. immediately. It's interesting. It's what I will say. It is interesting. You know? And like, I don't know, you can check. Is there any other like student at Stream University? I mean, I guess this guy, he was a student at Stream University. He went from 2K to 30K, which is a little bit more realistic, I think. Yeah, that's a little bit more realistic, I would say. For doing like 24-hour stream, this is a crazy amount of followers though. But you know, it can see this being as like a realistic thing. Getting stream since streamer you. Yeah, so we don't have a good number from that as well. But I don't know any other people who are at Stream University. I mean, DDG was there. When you have 2,500 concurrents, you have a good base that chats and sticks around and makes it interesting. Yeah. Which is probably a good example. He was popular. I don't know his ad. It's just like, again, it's not impossible. But it is worthy of scrutiny in my opinion. Also, Eddie Bingo, thank you for the 24 months, by the way. That is 2 years. Richard was Max's roommate. I don't know his... Thank you. Oh, I don't want to log in. Yeah, this is more realistic, right? Having like 2K, 1 to 2K, going to Stream University, and then like averaging out like 20K while being there. I can see that as being someone who's popular at Stream University. And then going back down to like averaging 3K, so he like doubled his viewership. That makes sense. Right? Going to Stream University, coming back and like doubling your viewership, even tripling your viewership makes sense. Going to Stream University, coming back and then 80xing your viewership. I don't know. I don't know. Right? Doubling, tripling, even quadrupling your viewership, sure. 80xing your viewership is craziness. Right? And would be a first. And I would respect it. Anyway, we won't spend too much more time on this. He's just that good? Yeah, he's just that good. Covered this, I covered this. There's also a Stream University video we can actually put on the docket.
Stream University.
That's going down, and that's what than when he was there, but more than before. Yeah. And that is how it works for literally everybody, for the most part. But speaking of universities, chat, is time. It's time to talk about my school. We're talking about Howard University and what's going on at Howard. Well, my school for now, until they kick me out too. What? Ezra Klein, Plattner's top strategist on what went wrong? Okay.
The Democratic parties.
I'm slightly intrigued. Anyway, let's get to this first.
In college, then finding out just weeks before school. Getting into your dream college, then finding out just weeks before school starts that you've been unenrolled. That's what happened to hundreds of incoming Howard University students yesterday. Several of them showed News 4 copies of an email that they received from the university saying they had missed a payment deadline on July 10th. And as a result, they'd lost their place in the freshman class. News 4's Amy Cho was following this story for us tonight.
What doesn't make sense is, I know I'll get to it. Does this impact you? Do I look like a freshman? I know I have that youthful look to me. No, it didn't impact me.
Certainly such a chaotic situation as those students are trying to figure out their next steps. Many of them say they were waiting on financial aid and scholarships, which typically do not get sent out until August. Within the last hour, Howard University said it is reviewing those students' cases to see if reinstatement is an option. But with move-in week less than 2 weeks away, the students are now scrambling to figure out what to do.
Isabella Williams had already packed her truck.
No school does this, by the way. I just want to point out that, like, by and large, no school does this. No school will unenroll you 2 weeks out from move-in day. They won't. If they accept you into their class, right? Firstly, they will review your outstanding balance after you register for your classes, because that's when the conversation about how much you owe comes into the question. Right? And then if you don't pay by maybe 2 to 3 weeks into the semester, then they'll drop you from your classes. Right? And then it's up to you to check, to revisit that. And then they go through like the steps of like removing you from the university after that is the case. I feel like you get 2 weeks of classes having started before they should be paying. Yes, that's usually how it works. Usually how it works is if you have issues with your payments, right? Is either one, you have a hold on your account so you can't register in the first place until you pay. Or if you like have like scholarships waiting and they like don't come through or whatever, your financial aid falls through, you feel me? Then they'll drop you from your classes if you can't pay it. They don't wait until like you are literally packed up for school. Be like, yeah, we're unenrolling you from the university. Especially when they force you to pay $300 non-refundable to confirm your enrollment. They send out their acceptance letters, right? You have to pay them $300 non-refundable to say, yes, I'm going to come. And then Howard's like, yoink, yoink, psych, thank for the $300, losers. And that's it.
Supposed to start driving from Alabama to D.C. today. The incoming Howard freshman was scheduled to move in this weekend to start an early internship with the school's football team. But yesterday, she got a letter saying she had missed a July 10th payment deadline and no longer had a spot at Howard.
For us to suddenly be unenrolled from what is most of our dream schools is heartbreaking. It's confusing.
Williams says she had scholarships to cover the rest of the balance and had sent documents to Howard informing them the money was coming in August.
I put in so...
And this is the craziest part, is that you shouldn't even need to send them anything. They already know. And I can speak on this from a point of authority because I'm having to deal with the financial aid department to try to get them to process my financial aid. They refuse to. I have sent a dozen emails. I'm not even exaggerating. I've sent a dozen emails to the graduate financial aid department, to my new financial aid counselor, to the undergraduate financial aid department, to my program director. And I've talked to somebody. Is anybody not funded? No. But the PhDs aren't funded. There's no funding in at least for Howard specifically. They have like 3 fully funded PhD, maybe more than that, a few more than that, like PhD spots. And I'll get to the financial situation in a second. Crazy, the funding for PhDs is basic. I mean, maybe a few years ago before they started gutting funding for, universities. Because there is no funding for literally anybody. Especially as of like the last 2 years. But I remember what I was saying. This is what the effect of slashing funding the Department of Education does. Partially. It has to do with the funding in general, right? In my situation. This is just Howard. right? And nobody wants to talk about it. This is black schools. This is an HBCU problem, right? That is a trickle-down effect of a lack of funding, but it is the HBCU problem. And I can say this because I've been to 4 institutions, right? I went to 3 during undergrad, don't ask, and a graduate program that I got accepted into. I went to 2 HBCUs and 2 PWIs. The only avenue, the only institutions where I've had issues in this regard are HBCUs, right? I went to A&T and I got accepted into Howard. I'm going to Howard. The only institutions that I've had these issues, these administrative issues, are for HBCUs. There's issues with advisors, there's issues with financial aid advisors, there's issues with financial aid counselors, there's issues with the deans and the chairmen of the departments. Consistently. Are you saying they're understaffed or just lacking resources in general or something else? I think it's a combination of different factors, right? It's a combination of different factors. I think for A&T and Howard specifically, it's 2 things. In one, they have a reputation that I don't want to say that they don't deserve, right? But that the administration does not like lead into, right? Howard and A&T both have reputations as some of the best HBCUs in the country. That comes from the students and the student-driven culture. It does not come from the administration. It does not come from the faculty. It comes specifically from the students and the student-driven culture of the institutions. And so when you see people who have such like fervor for support, right, and spirit behind, right, being an Aggie at A&T or being a Bison at Howard, right, it comes from the community-driven culture that is created by the students, right? Because a lot of legacies in Greek orgs, it's very tribalistic. Not even just that. I think it's less tribalistic. I think that's a. I don't want to say bad faith, but like, not the full story. It is tribalistic, but I think it's more about community. You say A&T is a good institution, though. It depends on what you mean by good institution. Like in what vein? Depends what you want to do. I don't think many institutions are good institutions. Like institutions themselves are. This is the partial anarchist in me. I think institutions themselves are incorrupt. I fully corrupt in certain instances. Would you recommend it to a niece or nephew? Would I recommend it? It depends what you want to do. Depends what you want to do. But to answer your question about like why is this the case, I think it's partially because of the concept of being underfunded. I think that these schools are underfunded or not funded as much. And I think it's partially from an adherence to like tradition. I think the money that does come in to HBCUs is not spent well. Right? I mean, HBCUs oftentimes are trying to chase what PWIs have, which is large endowments to fund a new library, to rebuild the freaking football field, to you know what I mean, to revamp the buildings and stuff like that. Right? It's not it's spent on like building the infrastructure that is required to actually function as an institution. It goes to the students last. You know what I mean? It's like that. So that's why you consistently hear about issues that Howard has about like housing, or even A&T has with housing. They have every single year, there's an issue with housing, and they could use this endowment money that they're getting to build more houses. And the question has to be asked, why they're not doing that? Why are they not building more houses? Why do they keep over accepting people for housing that they know that they need for freshmen every year, and somehow don't have housing for the students? Right? And Howard is the most funded HBCU in the country. Is there corruption? I can't speak to whether or not there is corruption or not corruption. I think there's corruption in every institution. There's corruption at PWIs as well. right? So there is like a level of corruption, right? There's also just a lack of care. Yeah, there's a lack of. This is why I think it's more, and this is what if you look at the response to that, I have a tweet about this. I was kind of cook up, right? The response to this story shows that a lot of black people care more about like black excellence as it pertains to the furthering of black institutions as opposed to black people. This is a problem that exists in the DNC with the Congressional Black Caucus and like black politicians. They care more about the success of black institutions, even if that's built on the suffering of the black people who that institution is supposed to serve. Right? It's a problem with like black capitalism, where black capitalism is about like, you know, supporting a black capital owner and enriching a black capital owner, even though that black capital owner is exploiting the black people who like, you know, work and live in that area. That's why black people like oftentimes love Jay-Z when he's doing exactly that. They're caring more about the continuation is the word I was looking for. The continuation of black institutions as opposed to the liberation of black people. Right? And this is a problem that I think also is reflected in the way that Howard exists as well. You know?
So many hours, late nights to apply for scholarships to make sure that I could go to the school of my dreams comfortably, and to have that ripped away isn't fair.
And she's not the only one.
And sorry, it's also classist to a certain extent as well, because I've also seen people who are like, if you can't afford to go to Howard, stop applying to Howard. And it's just like petty, like conservative tyrants, right? And to be fair, like, I think people have this like idea that like this is like that people like that are the like lion's share of black people. Like black people are inherently conservative and believe stuff like that. That's not most black people. This is a very specific kind of black person, right? Who attach their status symbol to how well they adhere to like the bourgeois aspects of black culture. Whether that's Divine Nine, whether that's going to like, you know, black institutions, whether that's being like a black politician and being part of the Congressional Black Caucus, like adherence to those status symbols that are just like small measures of control that black people can take in this country. You feel me? It's just like, oh, I have to attach myself to that. And so they don't look at Howard costing $80,000 a year in like cost of attendance and being like, that's too much and it's too expensive and college should be free. They think, oh, well, if you can't fork it up, then maybe you're not cut out for Howard. Right? And so they see these students as like the poors who can't hack it because, you know, Howard is an elite institution kind of thing. Would it be Van Jones when I grew up? That's kind of funny.
Repped him so hard. Okay, I repped him so hard. And I just don't feel like I'm being supported or repped back.
I've graduated early. I graduated my junior year, and I had a 4.0, and I did all of that just to get into Howard University. And now I can't go to Howard University.
Marley Cofield says as of July 11th, her account balance was negative, and Howard actually owed her money because she had more aid and scholarships than tuition would have cost. Howard University declined our request.
But again, the problem is Howard doesn't process its financial aid until August. So riddle me this. Tell me how it makes sense to force students to pay a bill when their financial aid is not processed until August. Right? This is why this is it's essentially a classist notion where like if you are a black person or just a person in general who is going to Howard and you could afford to pay this bill out of pocket and then get it reimbursed to you, you were fine. But if you are a working class black person who got into Howard purely based on your merit and can afford it purely based on your merit, and you are looking towards like scholarships or even loans in order to go to this school, that stuff isn't processed until August. right? So one must ask, like, why? Why was that the case? You feel me? Why is that the case? Why did that happen in the first place? Why are they doing this? Because no other institution is doing this, by the way. No other institution is doing this. The point is to make it more elite. I think that's part of the conversation. It's more of a deeper, wider conversation. I think the problem is that they just admit too many people. I think Howard wants to have this this idea of like being like the most prestigious HBCU, and they want to like use people being like, oh, I got into Howard, right? So they always admit too many people, by the way. Always. There's always an issue with housing. There's always an issue with not having enough beds for people on campus. There's always an issue about kicking off like upperclassmen off of campus because they don't have enough beds, right? So Howard knows this is an issue every single year, right? But I think their bills are a bit too high to admit the amount of students that they need. You feel me? I think that they need to admit as many people as they are admitting because that's what is required to pay off the bills that they have. You feel me? And so they do that and they see how long they can get away with doing that. And then like, oh, okay, well, we have this much overage. We're okay with getting rid of this many people or whatever. It's just like numbers on a balance sheet from the way that I view it. They over-admit just in case people drop out so they'd have enough money when the school year starts. Yeah, but then it's crazy because they like, admitted means you are admitted. Like, when you pay your bill as a student after being admitted, you are a student. And Howard can just be like, oh, I guess no, not anymore. It's literally insane. Doesn't it help their ranking prestige if they reject more people? These people are not rejected. These students are not rejected. They don't. This doesn't show. This shows up as like people that they've admitted, because they were enrolled. They were enrolled students, right? They were unenrolled. That's not a rejection. I think that building more housing is a moot point to them. The PWI I went to basically started kicking you out after freshman year. Each year, your chances of winning the housing lottery go down and down. Yeah, but the issue is they don't have enough housing to support their. They don't have enough housing to support the freshman class. That's the problem, right? Upperclassmen always, for the most part, move off campus, right? But they don't have enough. They don't have enough housing to support the freshman class. This is a thing that like has happened for years. We talked about it literally like last year. I'm trying to find it. Trying to find it. Where's it at? I keep seeing the older news articles. I keep seeing newer news articles. I need the older ones. Hold on. Before. Is this it? No, apparently this is a separate issue, but apparently they have Howard has just like this all the time.
And so as you try and unravel this, and I get the sense that hasn't been easy, right?
Absolutely.
Who from Howard is talking to you?
We have been trying to speak with those who are a little bit closer to the city.
Plus, our own Dominic Moody, who's been trying to unravel all of it.
Here, this is what I was looking for. Howard U's housing issues aren't new. They've just hit a boiling point. If the historically black school students say that they haven't seen enough action to fix decades-old problems, while administration says they won't budge until their sit-in ends. The Howard University community was not surprised when undergraduate students started occupying the student center 2 weeks ago in protest against living conditions in resident halls. This is about living conditions, not even about like a lack of housing. Oh, apparently also Troy Jackson was nominated. This isn't really a surprise, but it's there. Looking for something specific though. This guy stands on Plattwater. I don't know actually. Apparently Howard University's president last year resigned over housing and billing issues as well. This is a consistent issue that Howard's always had about like the way that they treat their students. Here, I want to go back to this
interview, but sent News 4 a statement saying they did repeated outreach to students and families between March and July, informing them of the payment deadlines. They said the outreach included emails, personalized financial aid information, videos, and prep sessions.
And I do not believe, because they keep saying they said repeated outreach about financial aid. I don't think they told people they're going to be unenrolled. Right? I do not believe they told students, hey, if you don't pay by this day, you're going to be unenrolled. Most because I don't even think Howard knew that they were going to do that. Right? But if you know anything about Howard, right, you know that like it is impossible to get in contact with anybody there. It is literally impossible to get in contact with anybody there. If you try to call because you have a specific issue, you'll get redirected to somebody else. You'll get redirected to somebody else who'll say this is not their issue, who will then put you on hold for an hour until like their boss gets off break at 10 a.m. and then, right, when you talk to their boss finally, they're like, have you checked your email? Check your email. And then they'll hang up. Because they said that they did when they tried to contact them, they get no response. Yeah, that's true. I know that because I've tried to contact them and got no response. I've tried to contact them and gotten zero response on my financial aid because they don't want to process my financial aid, gosh darn it.
School also said in the statement, we understand that the enrollment update that was issued yesterday is difficult and disappointing for students and their families, but that confirming enrollment is essential to planning academic programs.
This is funniest part. They did confirm their enrollment. They had to have confirmed their enrollment to have been enrolled. Howard requires you to pay $300 non-refundable just to confirm your enrollment. That's before you even get an email. That's before you even able to access the portal. Before you even are able to do anything. They say you have to pay us $300 non-refundable to confirm your enrollment. They have confirmed their enrollment. Howard made the decision to not process their financial aid and then kick people off of out of their enrollment that they've already confirmed because they didn't want to process the financial aid. And then they're getting mad at the students for not paying a $20,000 bill out of pocket because they don't have their financial aid yet. Because financial aid hasn't dispersed. Right? And something you see people oftentimes say about this, and we'll look at it a little bit later, is about the payment plan. They're like, oh, they should have done a payment plan. They should have done a payment plan, right? But what they don't know, that I do know, because I looked into doing a payment plan, is you have to pay the first installment plus a $45 non-refundable deposit, right, to even set up a payment plan. And so if you don't have any financial aid processed, it's $40,000 just for the tuition. You have to pay 10% of that, right? Because you have to pay half for this fall semester, and then it's in installments of 5 installments. You have to pay $4,000 when you set the payment plan up out of pocket just to set up the payment plan. That's not a solution. Requiring students to pay $4,000 out of pocket to set the payment plan up is not a solution. And then requiring that over a month before classes start, before you even process financial aid, is craziness. That is a crazy requirement.
Housing, financial aid, and student support services. The school says it'll give students a refund for any payments and scholarship dollars they had already sent. However, the deposits they put down for tuition and housing, $800 worth, that's non-refundable.
All of my deposits, I had to make GoFundMes to raise that money because my family is low income. So we just had to come up with the money out of nowhere by these.
So how is that person, right? This was all online though. Mine was approved in a month, so the school itself didn't accept it. No, they didn't. Right? My FAFSA was only accepted because I kept emailing them. My FAFSA was sitting there, and right, my other half of my financial aid still hasn't been accepted yet, by the way. I had to keep emailing people to get them to even accept my financial aid because they wouldn't do it for weeks. For weeks. Right? So you can do everything correct. Everything. Howard is I have to reiterate, I've been to 3 other universities. 3 other universities. 3 more universities. And Howard is the only university that I've seen unenroll students before classes even start for non-payment for disbursements that haven't even happened yet. What do you expect them to do? The student to do? Do you expect them to pay their bill? Like, they did everything correct. If they got the scholarships, it's on Howard to process those, right? But every time, again, I speak from a graduate student perspective. Maybe undergrads got it different. Maybe they got more communication or something. But every time I reached out about my financial aid, the only thing that I've gotten was, it hasn't been processed yet. I reached out like last week. They gave us new financial aid counselors, and I emailed that person literally last week. Do you know what they said? It was on Tuesday, the 21st. So it was actually 4 days ago. I reached out on the 20th. It took them 4 days to get back to me on the on the 21st. And 4 days after that is now. Right? I asked, I'm like, hey, why have you not accepted my financial aid? And then they were like, the loan department is still processing loans for the upcoming year. They can be reached at this email that I've already reached out to. And that was from my financial aid counselor that they just gave me. Like, and this is a known problem. This is a known problem. I have another friend who goes to Howard Law School. So it was like a separate campus. Same issues, no communication. We talked about this actually before I accepted. No communications. And this has literally only happened at the 2 HBCUs that I went to. Right? HBCUs have their own problem. They have their own issues. But this administrative thing of like this repulsion, right? This utter like disgust that like HBCU administration has for its students is crazy. Right? Not even just like the administration, the faculty. Right? I talked about it before, but I've never been as disrespected in my entire life that I had from one of my professors at A&T. Who I think is still teaching there. He sucks. He's really bad. He's like a 1.6 on Rate My Professors because he's that bad. He sucks. I'm still pissed off about that. Look like I didn't blast them. You're the third-party payment processor. No, it's just Howard. It's Howard University. It's literally them going in there and probably pressing like one button. Right? But it's crazy to punish the students for the fact that you haven't processed financial aid yet. It's wild to punish students for the fact that you haven't processed the financial aid.
These certain dates, which we've done.
Howard University told the students who were unenrolled they can apply again next year as a transfer student. We asked them if that's something they would consider.
Yeah, that's insane, by the way. That's crazy. How are they going to apply as a transfer student? Transfer from where? They can't get into anywhere else. It's July. They can't go to school. These students who got unenrolled cannot go to another university. And Howard knows this. Howard knows this because their deadline has already passed for enrollment. If Clark Atlanta unenrolled students, would Howard accept them? No. That's craziness to say better luck next year when you know for a fact that they can't even apply next year as a transfer student. It's gross. It's so gross. It's really gross. These are kids. These are children. These are like 17, 18-year-old kids. And this will derail their career. Right? Because scholarships don't transfer to next year. Maybe you can hope. You can hope that maybe your scholarship company or whoever is giving you the scholarship, the nonprofit, is willing to hold on to it. But they probably still can't do that because you can't get paid out your scholarship unless it's dispersed through the university. You have to go to a university and have your scholarship dispersed through the university. It's that you can't get the scholarships can't get given to you. You can't have that money. It's dirty. It's really dirty.
The answer was no.
What's to say that they won't do it again or they do something else?
I don't think that's fair to myself. I don't think it's fair to switch universities.
Now, even if the students do get reinstated, the question remains if they will have housing when they get there. Howard tells me they have started offering up the housing spots to students who had been on the housing wait list. So certainly so many questions left.
That's so dirty. Okay, you know what I think it is? I think someone in administration had a nephew or a niece or something, a child who was on the housing wait list. It was like, yo, what if we just did this, bro? What if we just did this so little Johnny can just get out? What if we just did this so little Johnny can get some housing? It's wild. It's so wild.
With the college students who say their dream school just pulled the rug out from under
The
them.
financial aid office famously does not respond to calls or emails. Oh, I know. Every time my freshman year I went to visit, I had to wait in line for an hour in line. And some of those days I wouldn't accept students. Bro, the number on their website doesn't even work. I called the number that is on their website for financial aid. It is out of service. It doesn't work. It's wild.
We've learned Howard University sent out emails this week to more than 500 incoming students, letting them know their spots were revoked. We thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Foster. So the university says these students missed a crucial...
And also, I'm sorry, not giving them a heads up shows how shady this is. Not telling these students that they will get their enrollment revoked is crazy. It's crazy. It's wild. Knowing they can't pay, being like, hey, you have to pay by this day, knowing you haven't processed the financial aid, and then when they inevitably don't pay because they can't pay, because they have no money to pay it with, you're like, oh, well, you didn't pay. It's been 10 days. It's been 10 days since the bill was due. We're revoking your spot for college. Wild.
Payment deadline. And this comes with less than 2 weeks until students hit campus. Our Rafael Sanchez Cruz has been digging into this situation for a second day now. Everybody is talking about this. We've seen the reaction. You've heard the reaction.
Yeah, that's right.
It's incredible.
It's a lot to take in, but look,
Yeah.
Les, I've also been getting a lot of DMs. I've read the comments on social media, people saying that these students need to learn the lesson about missing a deadline. But what I'm hearing from students is not so clear-cut. They tell me they informed the university that their loans, scholarships, or VA benefits would drop later, but they still got that email. Today, the students say there's still a lot of confusion and uncertainty. The Howard group chats are blowing up.
One after the other. And then when I finally checked my email and I got it, I felt hurt. You know, I was really like, wow, because I felt like I gave my all to the school.
Kaylin Morris from Illinois is among the 502 students whose spots at Howard University were revoked. He received an email on Wednesday that said the July 10th deadline to make your tuition payment or payment arrangement to secure your enrollment has passed.
Most of the money I was, using for college came from them. So I was confused.
Morris says he received scholarships from Howard. He set up a payment plan and thought he was in good financial standing with the school. That's until Wednesday's email.
I'm looking at my email right now. I've gotten an email from the School of Business Administration, like, congratulations and welcome to Howard University School of Business.
Morris says he doesn't know his current standing. He still has a housing assignment and access to his accounts, but his classes have been cleared out.
I'm confused on that part. It's definitely a mixed message.
Howard University has responded to what some call mixed messaging about deadlines. The student's financial calendar says tuition is due August 3rd, first payments on July 15th. But the school says those deadlines are for returning students and that new students were notified about the July 10th deadline since March.
And I just got my classes back.
Keep in mind, but they were accepting students up until May. You could have gotten accepted to Howard in June and not have known. It's so dirty. It's so dirty. It's so dirty.
Moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, I don't have my merit scholarships on there.
Isabella Williams from Alabama, who we spoke to yesterday, says it appears her case has been resolved. Today, Howard University refused to answer how many students have been reinstated. They also refused an interview on the entire ordeal.
Because I think that they thought that they can get away with it. Because so long as you were exploiting like young black kids, people don't really care. They thought they could get away with it. They thought there would be a little blip on the radar, and then nobody would be like, oh, another Howard controversy or whatever. I think they pushed her like a little bit too far. It's craziness, absolute craziness. Sorry, I saw a different video. But yeah.
So the sheer number of impacted students is getting a lot of attention. Using public data from Howard University from the last 5 years.
So my son took considered Howard Law School, conversation in my mind. I think I was to a PWI. again, I'm not saying you can't go to an HBCU, right? There are a lot of good things you can get at an HBCU, right? One, you got to know what to expect. You got to know what to expect. But for two, is that Howard is too expensive for this experience. Too expensive to have a non-communicative administration. With tuition at $40,000 a year, it's too expensive. Right? Law school is a different story because like there's a lot of different factors that goes into like law school. 60? No, it's 40. How are you gonna tell me? I go to the school. try to tell me how much it costs to go to Howard. I go to Howard. I do too. Well, unstoppable objects meeting an immovable object. Who's correct? Me or this other chatter? I'm correct. I think GW is 16. Howard's 40. Howard's 40 for law and 40 for tuition, undergraduate and graduate. It's 40 for everything, actually. Was even the right saying? It was close enough. Both, yeah. It's weird. It's I think the first school that I realized that has law school be like the same price as like getting like a freaking PhD or whatever. It's literally the same price. It's weird.
Average incoming freshman class is around 2,500 students. If 502 students are impacted by this enrollment issue, we're talking about 20% of the incoming class less.
Which is not insignificant. Yeah. I think the challenge here is we need more information from the university. It sounds like these students need more information. We've been pushing for information and we haven't gotten a whole lot of clarity. And there's just days before the enrollment starts, before classes begin.
Yeah, something to note, Les, that I was talking to you earlier is that the university is saying, however, they have not taken anybody off the wait list because of this situation. Okay. So they're not essentially filling in these spots just yet, but we're waiting.
They took them out of housing wait list. Yeah, I still think it's about housing. I saw a video that was like, Howard swears it's not about housing. I'm like, no, it's fully about housing. I'm telling you, I think there is a child of someone who is an admin at the university who didn't get a housing spot, who was on the housing wait list, and they pushed this entire thing through to clear out the housing list. I'm telling you. That's my tinfoil hat theory. My tinfoil bonnet theory, if you will.
Hear more from them.
And perhaps that means there is a runway for these students to get this resolved before classes actually start. We sure hope that's the case. Yeah. All right, Rafa, thank you.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. Here, I'll look up my tweet and I'll get to your... Where is my tweet at? Here, I said, it's lunacy to expect students to pay a bill in July but not process financial aid until August, in my opinion. Even taking the remedial steps of getting on a payment plan, with no financial aid posted to your account, you're expected to pay at least like 2.5K out of pocket in July regardless. And it's dirty work telling them to apply as a transfer student next year. Like, it's end of July. Acceptance deadlines have well passed, and Howard knows this because their deadline has already passed. Many of these students won't be going to school in the fall now. It's craziness. Is you wrapped up in this? Or are you good? It's only for freshmen. So honestly, if they would have hit graduate students, I would have got hit by this. There's no saying that they won't. There's no saying that they won't hit graduate students, but there's no reason to because, like, it's basically free money for them. Cannot see how this is just intentional propaganda to make HBCUs look particularly bad or corrupt. In my opinion, they aren't. They have less capital than UMD or UVA or even GW or George Madison. I mean, in what way? Or that they're not corrupt, but they aren't unique, in my opinion. Colleges are a racket. I mean, it's true, but like, this is still something that they did. You feel me? I don't think this is an op to make HBCUs look bad. Howard does that all on their own. Howard does that all on their own. Because this is a consistent thing from them. A consistent thing from them. As it pertains to like housing, as it pertains to just general like, you know, admin messery. They're always messing stuff up, not responding to people. It literally, if you talk to like black people in like at Howard, they will tell you the exact same thing too. It's like, yeah, Howard's known for this. Howard's known for not communicating. It's a meme at this point. I wonder how many people transfer even if things get supposedly fixed. I don't know. It's craziness. It's crazy. Frustrating is that they have money to do. They have the money to do it. It isn't like they're underfunded. They are underfunded in the same way that like all higher ed is underfunded, right? But Howard is the most funded, the most expensive HBCU. Like, if you don't have freaking Central doing stuff like this, like, you have to like, you know, think about like why is that the case? For colleges can be with actively right now, it seems like the stability of academia has been used to and is coming to an end. I mean, sure, but like, don't push it on the students. You feel me? There's no reason to push it onto the students. Also, yes, I did. This is also true. Is that they got an $80 million, right, endowment. Unrestricted endowment, by the way. It's a gift, which means they can use it for whatever they want to. This was last year in November. $80 million from Mackenzie Scott. Right? Why they can't seem to fix the housing stuff? But they're penny pitching the students. They're penny pitching the students. And everybody that I've talked to at the administration say that they have zero money. They have no money. Right? Again, it's not like they're not rich. All the higher ed is struggling right now. Right? All higher ed is struggling. All higher ed is you know, it's not as stable as it used to be. This is all true. Right? It is true. But like Howard is the least struggling of the HBCUs because of its notoriety, because of its prestige, if you will. Right? There are HBCUs who are actually struggling, who don't know if they're going to be open in 5 years. Right? Kicking off 20% of your freshman class is crazy. And I think it's because they just over-admit people. I think they just admit too many people. And there's been a consistent problem of just admit, without worrying about like whether or not they have housing for them. And then I think they realize like, oh, we have literally zero housing for all these freshmen, and they found a way to get rid of them. Vibes are thank you for the prime. No matter what, the student shouldn't take the punishment. Yeah. Are the pay structures of public universities available with respect to admin salaries as a whole and cost of upkeep? Well, funnily enough, Howard is not public. Howard is a private institution. It's how they can charge $80,000 for cost of attendance, $40K for tuition. It's a private institution. So, again, and Howard's reputation comes from its, one, alumni base who are just former students, and the students that are there. But I'll let you know how my classes go, I guess. They have the money, just not free government money they reserve for the students. Yeah. Even then, the money ain't going to the students either. It's basically hazing and schemes. It's purposeful to push these kids out after getting the money from the kids and donations, the government funding, like at how enrollment drops off with the first few months of classes. I think that's all universities, though. So I gotta just explain how much my family's paid. I mean, your family might have paid $60,000, or especially if you got like an unsubsidized loan, and the entire cost of attendance. Tuition is $40K though. But yeah, this is not a problem that is like unique to HBCUs, but HBCUs do have a problem. And I think a lot of black people don't want to engage with the fact that HBCUs do have a problem, and they're not exempt from critique. Right. Also, there was this here. This person responded to me and was like, "Oh, stop! This person is also doing this to everybody." This person, I've seen this person in the replies of everybody talking about the situation, posting this exact same thing. The school has payment plans for this exact scenario. These clowns never bothered to reading or responding back. Right? And I said, I addressed the payment plans in my literal first tweet. They require you to pay the first installment plus a $45 setup fee when signing up for one. So if they don't process financial aid, it's $4K due immediately when signing up. The whole process is a mess. Did they work there? No, they're probably just a bootlicker. Right? Because if you think about like the K-Hot Kamala Harris types, right? They see an institution, like a black institution, is like, I must defend this black institution, even if it comes on the backs of the exploitation of black people. Right? It's an issue that happens with black capitalists. It's an issue that happens with black like academics, with black small business tyrants, for black politicians. Right? It's a reinforcement of the institution, because the institution is all that matters. It is not about the actual liberation of black people. You know what I mean? Some students did sign up for a payment plan like did in the video. Yes. They don't like, this person doesn't listen. Ought to protect and give value to white supremacy and capitalism, with crumbs given to the black elite. Right? Again, I still think there's value in going to Howard. You feel me? I think there's value in even going to like black institutions, right? There's value there. You feel me? There's value in going to like black community spaces. Like, I'm not telling you to go to a PWI. You feel me? That's not the answer is not like go to white institutions. It's not like, oh man, this black business is the problem. Let me just give my money to white people. You feel me? That's not gonna solve the issue. Right? But you have to engage with the reality that does exist, and that is when black institutions serve to also do exploitation the same way that white institutions do, they also must be called out. The MSIs, people don't talk about them enough. I mean, they also still have issues with MSIs. Like UNCG is an MSI, and it still has its own issues as it pertains to like administration and stuff. PWI is a predominantly white institution. PWI is predominantly white institution. HBCU is historically black college university. MSI is a minority serving institution. So it basically it's white school, black school, right? Non-black school in the middle. So if one group has like a predominantly white student population or student body, one is a historically black college university, and then one is like minority serving institution that has like a eclectic mix and diversity. You feel me? And this is what one of the icebreaker problems. Last year, Howard allowed ICE to recruit on campus. I actually didn't know about that. Right, but the population, again, and this is an interesting point as well about like what is the role of an institution in general. The student body at Howard is a progressive student body. Right? There were protests for Palestine on Howard 2024 and 2025. Right? You had Howard's graduate class booing the former mayor right? Because of her being a Democrat working with the Republicans, right? There's a progressive presence on Howard. I think it can be bigger, it can be larger, right? But the role of an institution is to kind of bring people into the machine, right? This includes like Divine Nine. The role of Divine Nine is to bring people into the machine. It's to one, give community, but that community comes at a cost. The cost is like your defense and adherence to what serves like the Black elite, and maybe not what serves the totality of the Black community. And that's something you have to be wary about as it pertains to like engaging with Black institutions. They're not infallible. You know? I do want to see some more TikToks from students though.
Hi everyone, my name is Chrisette Jones, an incoming freshman at Howard University. At least I was. Today, me and
Classes
several...
for the first day. These are not my classmates. These are children. These are children. My classmates are the adults in the graduate program. We're fine. We're chilling.
Hundred others of incoming freshmen at Howard University was unenrolled from the university today. Their reasoning in an email was unpaid tuition balances.
Sorry. I saw another video. Non-Black person. His video starts out by saying, y'all know I go to Howard University, but the first comment that I saw was genuine question, why do you go to an HBCU? And it had 1,400 likes. I was like, that is kind of funny. Yeah, I'll show you too. I didn't know there were non-Black people at Howard. Is it the Asian guy? Maybe.
Y'all know I go to Howard University, and y'all know I love my...
Can I ask why you go to Howard?
Y'all know I go to Howard University.
It's kind of funny. It's funny.
And y'all know I love my school, but today over 100 have bison have been dropped and unenrolled from the school, and it's not because they did something wrong or because they failed a class, but it's because they have an unpaid balance. And now they can't come to the school of their dreams. Now they can't come to the school that they've been working for their whole lives for because they miss an unpaid balance. And who is Howard to decide what they can and can't? Bro, they could have had external scholarships coming in. They could have had military benefits. They could have had who knows what they're going on. This is somebody's life, and you playing with it. Like, bro, you got people who work their whole life for this, and I know I'm smiling, but this shit not funny, bro. This shit not funny. Because we start school in less than a month. You know that, right? Like, we start school in, like, a month. What are they supposed to do? What are these kids supposed to do? Right?
Right.
What are these kids supposed to do, bro? This is...
He's not wrong, but I can't take him seriously. He reminds me of the cut a board guy.
And I know the hate comments only happen cause they boy.
I wish I had the other video. The original video. It's really funny. It's a really funny video. This guy the adults you're with? Nah, he's definitely not. Anyway, sorry. Not important. Not important.
Situation is different. My situation, I only owed $9,000. And I personally was having issues on the website where we pay our tuition balance. And I wasn't able to pay until today. But in other student situations, they still had scholarships pending, military benefits pending, and we are currently 2 weeks before we have to move in. Tell me, Howard, what am I and hundreds of other students supposed to do now? In no email have you warned us that there will be unenrollment if we didn't pay our tuition by the July 10th.
This is true. This is true. It says your account will be placed on a hold, which will prevent you from any registration activity and release of your diploma. There's at no point have they ever said like, hey, you're going to be. Also, I can't even freaking hold on. Can't even freaking watch this video.
Deadline. To all my other Howard incoming freshmen, I'm here with you. We're all in this together, and we're all gonna get through this. Hi everyone. My name is Chrisette Jones, and incoming.
Not the time for High School Musical. I just love that like everybody has a TikTok account. Every single person has a TikTok account nowadays.
Hello, my name is Mia and I'm an incoming freshman at Howard University. Well, I was an incoming freshman at Howard University, but this morning myself and hundreds of other students were told that we can no longer attend. So let's get into it. Okay, so I received 2 emails today. First of which said that I declined my offer of admission and that they hate to see that I decided not to attend the fall. Right, that's a lie. Let me get you right there. That's a lie.
I don't know if the saxophones were necessary.
I promise you, if you speak on Howard University's issues, you will have some alum from out of nowhere talking about mind your business, stay in your place. Nigga, what the fuck? I remember last year I was talking about when students couldn't pay their bill. I had niggas telling me, you're just mad you couldn't get in. I said I went to Morgan. All right, they were like, stay at Morgan. Mind Morgan's business. Don't mind ours. Your own damn students that attend the school are asking people on the internet for help, you dumb mother. Okay. Like, okay, all right. Motherfucker, yo, the students at the damn school need help, nigga. You talking about I'm mad I couldn't get in. Nigga, I'm in school. Like, what the fuck? I'm chilling where I'm at. You gonna help the students that need you? Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, I can't stand niggas that be so stuck up their own ass. Oh, I graduated from Howard University. Motherfucker, you got students currently at Howard that's begging and pleading for you to help them. You gonna do something or you gonna talk to me? Like, what the fuck? And let's say, for instance, they can't do shit. The least they can do is share a
He's talking to you? I haven't even gone yet. Okay, chill on me. Directly. I haven't even... Okay, I have stepped foot on the campus. Classes haven't even started yet. Gosh darn it. Bro, let a black man try to expand his mind. Everybody has a problem with it. Everybody comes out the woodwork having problems with it. When a black man tries to educate himself. Exactly. Honestly, I think it's racism. Hold on. I think I got it. I got it. Okay. Can y'all see that? Can y'all hear that?
A ton of hate comments, and I just want to formally ask you to please stop. Step 1, I never get tired of the hate. You gotta be good before you ever be great. And I know the hate comments only happen because they bored. They all bench players staring at the scoreboard. Relationship and advice, they never taking advice. They turning on me, and now you hate the advice? Like, bro, all I do is chop it in my kitchen. What you doing? Stop with the bitching. Stop looking, listen, you little hoe. It's all good, you just a weak amateur, and I'm a real pro. What you gonna do, bro? I know you breaking up more relationships than the 5-ring woman named J-Lo. It's cool if you say so. I got so many kills on the board, I'm like a Pavlo.
You have Twitter, call on Twitter. You can use that to contact Howard. No. What do you want me to do? I made my tweet about it. I'm gonna be like, yo, Howard, stop. Yo, Howard, I've been seeing you getting a lot of hate comments, so I want you to just please stop. Step 1. I never get tired of it. They'll listen to me? I'm gonna get them to admit 500 students. Joe Exotic tweeted he won't be visiting Howard until they readmit their students. I think that'll have the opposite effect, personally.
On me. God, do something. Share something that a nigga going through. You know, like, do something other than talking to motherfuckers.
Yeah. And I will just say this. Right? Because this is something that we're going to talk about in a second about, like, I do think there is a tendency for non-black people to jump in black conversations when we're addressing, like, the issues within the black community as if, like, white people don't have the same thing. Like, white people have their own elite. White people have their own elite, their own exclusive little clubs, their own bourgeois spaces, right? Where they have their own little circle where rich people kind of do what they want to do there. This is the thing that happens. And so when we talk about, like, the black elite and how, like, black people can also do that and engage with the same sorts of things, like, we're not acting like this is like a black unique issue, right? This is something that I saw with this tweet here, which we'll get to this person in a second. Right, this person is racist. Like, this is not like a surprise or unique, right? Where this person's like a school board member who was like, stop all that Arabic music or whatever. I don't know what she's saying.
Oh yeah, so we're here with Angie Smith, and you're from Farmington.
Hi, I'm Angie Smith. I'm from Farmington Public Schools. Top vote-getter for Farmington Public School Board. Been on the board 11 years. I am supporting Haley Stevens because she's that candidate. We need someone that can represent all of us, not just one race, but all races. Haley has done great work in Farmington and in Farmington Hills. She knows what she's doing. And anytime you can go to a Democratic convention and be booed and walk from behind a podium and stand there while you're being booed and things thrown at you, that's our person. So let's vote August 4th for Haley Stevens. Thank you.
Thank you. When you say, not just for one, what do you mean by that?
Well,
you feel the other candidate is...
The other candidate seems to be he doesn't work a room. You have to know how to work
hold
the
him?
room. Don't come out speaking only Arabic. Don't come out with your Arabic music on. Represent everyone. My DNA is my DNI. Well, my DI. I'm the mother of a lesbian. I'm Puerto Rican.
What? I don't even know what she was saying. What is she trying to say? I don't understand the DNA comment. I think I don't get it. Is that a boomer thing? I don't get it. My DNA is my DI. I don't get it. I don't even know what she's trying to say.
In Cherokee, with a grandfather that was a white man from Ireland. Represent us all. Don't just represent one ethnicity and one race.
She's a mother of a lesbian. Yeah, but how does the DNA part work with that? Or DNA. Oh, DEI. I don't think she said that. That may be what she meant.
Represent everyone with your Arabic music on. Represent everyone. My DNA is my DNI. Well, my DI. I'm the...
No, she said my DNA is my DI. And then she said my DNA is my DNI. And then she said my DI. I don't know what that means. Maybe she meant DEI. Maybe I think this lady might not be all the way there. She's a little confused. I think she might not be all the way there, right? Obviously, this person is dumb, right? She's like an ignorant boomer, right? Have you seen this event thread? No one under 55. That's not a surprise. Only people who are over 55, maybe 65, even love Haley Stevens. But I saw this tweet. And I was like, accurate to say black boomers are the second most racist Dem voting bloc. I'm just like, what are we talking about? Like, the fact that this person made this tweet kind of betrays that exact thing in the first place. Because you see one black person and you're just like, oh, this is all black, like black people or whatever. Like, no, this is a boomer thing. Are we power scaling which boomers are the most racist? Like, it's just a boomer thing. Boomers are ignorant and it's bad and it sucks. So like I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like you can look at a black person who is being a bigot and call that black person a bigot without being like, man, black person are bigoted. Black people are bigoted, right? This is the exact same conversation when it came to like the OJ guy for the Max Streamer University thing, where people saw that and were like, man, look at black people or Caribbean people. They're so homophobic, and they're just seeing like, hey, this is a person, this is a black person that is homophobic, right? But you never make those broad sweeping statements when it comes to white person. When you look at like clavicular, you don't see people be like, oh, look at how freaking how like white men love freaking smashing their bones or whatever. Right? Because again, white people are allowed to exhibit an entire host of the political spectrum, and nobody makes that a monolith. Nobody sees a white person do a thing. Sorry, I was saying nobody. Society does not see a white person do a thing and then apply that to the totality of white people. You feel me? But when it comes to literally anybody else, including black people, right? One black person would be stupid and dumb, and then it's like, man, black people are kind of stupid and dumb. Instead of just like this person, it cannot be an individual. They are a member and a representative of the black community, right? And that monopolizing is part of the racist sentiment that kind of makes this actually incorrect. It's also not even true. Like there are racist black people, right? This is true, but like if you're power scaling racism based on like how racist they are, like we skipping over like Hispanic and Latino boomers, we're skipping over Asian boomers, we're skipping over white boomers. Maybe who's number one here, and who's like how are we ranking them? You feel me? Are we doing a draft for who is the most racist type of boomer there are? All boomers are racist. They're boomers. It is a function of being a boomer, not a function of them being black. Right? But I think a big thing for a lot of non-black people, including a lot of non-black leftists, is that they're trying to find some avenue where they can kind of like stick it to black people. Right? And so when they see a black person who is like being homophobic or being racist, right, that becomes indicative of the wider black community, so that they can now have beef with the wider black community. A good example of this is like what Bad Banana does all the time on Twitter, which now people are waking up to him when he's posting George Floyd memes, but I've been saying this forever. You feel me? I have been saying this forever. People are looking for something to paint the entirety of the black community as it's like one like bigoted thing, because they can't stand the idea of like, you know, black people in this country are oppressed under white supremacy, and white people don't like that, no matter where on the political spectrum that they fall, right? And so they'll get mad at you if you say all white people are racist, but they'll see one homophobic black person and be like, man, black people are so homophobic. You know what I mean? Say black boomers are the second most racist is crazy when they are still consistently the most progressive voting bloc. Yeah, it's craziness. It's just wild. Like boomers are racist. Boomers in general are racist. This is not a black boomer thing. Right? Like boomers are homophobic and boomers are transphobic. It's also not a black boomer thing. But it's very easy to like latch onto this because white supremacy demands that you position black people as this specific thing. You've seen the new Charlie Much Critical video. A bunch of boomers come together and push a 28-year-old woman to leave the community in her house, a heritage from her father, because the 55+ community, she didn't do anything bad. Many didn't even know she lived there. I have not seen that. I met many black boomers, and most are very anti-racist. Maybe that's just on my circles, though. I don't know. There are black boomers who are racist, for sure. There are black boomers who like hold racist beliefs about other groups of people. I remember having this conversation in a Sans chat like a few years ago. And it was like a chatter was like, black people can't be racist. And it was like a whole conversation about whether or not black people can or can't be racist. Right? And I think I just said that was a stupid conversation. because like you're getting into like whether or not like what racism is and yada yada yada. I think a better conversation to have is whether or not like white people can experience racism, right? That is a better conversation because you're kind of like flipping it on its head instead of like looking about like the interpersonal aspect of racism. Be like, oh, can a black person be bigoted to this person and can black person like hold racist beliefs to this person? That's not the conversation that people actually want to have. They want to have a conversation about whether or not white people can experience racism in general, right? Like, yes, a black person can like hold bigoted beliefs about non-black people, and they do. There are like, anti-Asian black people, like they exist. There are anti-Arab black people, right? There's Islamophobic black people, right? There are homophobic black people. There are transphobic black people. Black people are people, and people of any group are going to exhibit bigoted beliefs because they're people, right? But I don't think a lot of people view black people, as humans who can hold different beliefs, right? They can hold stupid beliefs. They can be dumb, and they are dumb oftentimes. There are a lot of black people who are dumb. And same with that, there are a lot of white people who are dumb. You feel me? But the need to like paint black people holistically as a group as like racist because you see this one black person, I think it's silly. Right? We can engage with the racism that does exist within the black community without painting this wide brush. Anyway, that's the thing that I had when I saw this. I thought it was silly. To be fair, the comments are calling him out a little bit. He said older Arab and Hispanic voters, older Arabs and Hispanics are famously progressive and not racist at all. You're right. To be fair, it's a tad bit of a straw man, but like, this person's like, they believe the same thing as white boomers. Yeah, like this is all boomers. That's all boomers. All boomers believe these things. You're not gonna find a group of boomers who are progressive. You're just not. There is not a racial group of boomers that are like progressive by and large. They're boomers. But of every racial group of boomers, black people are the most progressive of them. Consistently speaking. Well, again, it's the same thing about like white people are not seen as like a community. There's no like white community. There is a black community. So when you see a black person, you see that as a representation of the wider community. Anyway, it's not, I don't get too deeper into it. I can keep going, but let's see. Is there other Howard stuff? Oh, Don Lemon came out with a comment or with a tweet.
This is an alert, an important one. Have you seen this? Howard University.
Don Lemon came out with a with a TikTok.
This is an alert, an important one. Have you seen this? Howard University just unenrolled more than 500 incoming freshmen days before move-in. Now, I want you to listen to this because a lot of these students weren't saying that they couldn't pay. They were waiting for financial aid and scholarships that they say had already been approved and were already on the way. The payment deadline was July 10th. Students say much of that aid doesn't even post until August. So imagine getting into your dream school, doing everything you're supposed to do, and then losing your spot because the money hadn't shown up in the system yet. Howard says that it warned students for months and sent multiple communications. However, students have since had their enrollment, some restored, but hundreds reportedly were still locked out just days before move-in. Did Howard get this one wrong? Let me know what you think in the comments. This is an alert and an important one. Have you seen
wrong? But yeah, it's strange. It's strange and it's weird. It's like the most part is that people will know or believe this story in the future, so many people will still keep paying them trying to get in. Yeah, I mean, I think another issue is that this technically could happen in other schools as well, right? I think it happens on a smaller scale. Like this happens like on a smaller scale at other universities. Usually, it's like a few students who like, don't pay and get kicked out, maybe prematurely. It's settled in, but nobody drops 20% of their incoming class for payment a month before school is supposed to start. Nobody. No school does that. That's wild. But that's a part of the conversation. That's the Howard stuff. I think I'm still enrolled, personally. I'll let you know if anything changes. It'd be good content, to be fair. It would be fantastic content if they kicked me out. So they were looking for an excuse to let students go. That's the camp that I'm in. That is the camp that I'm in. Somebody leaked this though. How do we know that it's even 500 students? I don't know. I kind of want to see this Ezra Klein video. Cover the Howard stuff. As you know, I'll end with this.
Sorry, I know. Her balance is practically zero. Her scholarship came in today. She only owes $1,400. I told them I will pay this now.
I'm Jay Lawson on the campus of Howard University because over 500 students have been unenrolled at Howard's incoming freshman class. Now, the vice president of enrollment says that basically the tuition had to be paid 50% on the account in order for the students to secure their enrollment.
That is not in any communications, by the way. In zero communications have they ever said that. Nowhere on the websites, nowhere on any emails have they ever said you need to pay half of your tuition by this day. Nowhere. Nowhere.
However, parents say that the emails have been confusing frustration. A lot of parents have come up to the administration building offering to pay the remaining balance of what they believe is left on the accounts, and the administration is telling them that there is nothing that they can do. The vice president of enrollment also says that...
Which is weird, because if it was just about the money and parents were willing to pay for it, there's no reason to not let them pay for it. There's zero reason to pull like on July 23rd, right? A month before classes start to say, nope, sorry, you can't pay your bill. Especially when you haven't processed financial aid yet. I'm telling you, I think it's something stupid. I think it's literally something stupid. Like somebody's student, like somebody who works there in the admin, their student, their kid couldn't get housing. And so they pulled this to remove them from the housing list. I think it's something stupid like that. Something so dumb and unavoidable that it's just like something stupid like that. They put 500 for that. I mean, it literally makes no other sense otherwise. It makes zero sense otherwise. Because 500 is a huge amount of money. I think it's either something like that. They over enroll people, but they always over enroll people. They always over accept people.
Some cases will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis because there were a lot of external funding and scholarships that needed to be applied to accounts. But right now, a lot of the students who have been turned away, their families say that they don't know what they are going to do.
Should I use AI to use an operation for kicking out students that effed it up? No, I don't even think it would be that as well, because I don't see Howard as having such a robust like AI system. Like someone had to send those emails out to people. I think somebody had to have known 500 people, 20% of their incoming class were going to be unenrolled, and somebody okayed it. Yeah, this is why it's happening. DC, housing market in DC is about to go boom. I mean, that wouldn't necessarily apply to like why. This would be a roundabout way to address the housing crisis, though. I can't even read this. Okay, gosh, freaking darn it.
Like, what's this money is the problem that can be solved. It's not fair. I called since May trying to get in contact with somebody. They did not respond.
I believe that because I called them too. They don't respond.
And when they did respond, they gave me miscommunication. They can pull, they said the calls are recorded. They can pull those calls to hear what
Hey, the lawsuit will pull the calls.
the rep told me.
I think it's weird to, one, not allow students to pay their remaining balance right now, but also to not tell them they're being kicked off. That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. To not tell them that the consequence of not paying their balance is unenrollment is weird. Maybe they're going to expand student housing and now they have to compete with the U.S. government for property and land around D.C. I mean, if that's the case, that wouldn't really apply to why they would kick students off now, because it takes time to build the housing. Unless you mean like they were trying to acquire housing like from like other sources, which maybe. Just trying to steal the money. I mean, that's not. I don't think that's incorrect. I think if it's $800 for tuition and housing deposits per student, that's a lot of money, Chad. It's not a crazy amount of money. Hold on. Like, it's $400,000, which is an $800,000 deposit. But like, it's more than $800 around, depending on what fees and stuff. That's not gonna do anything for you, really. They just got $80 million from like Bezos' ex-wife. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it's strange. We'll see what comes from this. I'll cover this in a second. I don't want to talk about the Davis stuff at the moment. Covered this. Covered this. Covered this. Covered this. Let's look at this one. It's an hour long though.
An intense moment right now. And
the Pro Kuzny went 36 months.
Plattner's Senate campaign in Maine has become a focal point for those tensions.
Democrat Grant Plattner said he is dropping out of his state Senate race. It follows.
I can't wait to. I take solace in knowing for the last week I have not heard about this man literally at all, and I will never have to see him again in my entire life. Involved late Stevens event. Angie Smith, the woman making racist comments about El Said, and whose endorsement for Stevens' campaign was promoted, previously censured by fellow school board members for allegedly helping create a toxic culture by spreading rumors and gossip and attacking fellow staff. And that's not at all surprising. Somebody who is toxic and a horrible colleague and boss is also racist. That's not surprising at all.
Allegations of rape and physical abuse, which he denies.
I just want to make it clear, this is all false.
After months of debating what the lessons of Plattner's
this is all false.
That's from his video.
After months of debating what the lessons of Plattner's sudden rise were, now it's all about the lessons of his even more sudden fall. And every faction has a lesson and wants the other faction to learn. To the Democratic establishment, it shows the failures of the populace to vet their candidates. You can't trust them. Look at how Plattner fell apart under scrutiny. What if that had happened after the date when Maine's Democratic Party could still choose a new candidate? The populace want to protect what Plattner seemed to be proving before his implosion, that the Democratic establishment is intensely vulnerable, that it's out of touch with the electorate. Plattner did, after all, beat Janet Mills, the sitting governor of Maine, Chuck Schumer's hand-picked candidate, before his campaign collapsed. And a lot of the anger has focused on Morris Katz, a strategist at the political consulting firm Fight Agency. You may not have heard of Morris Katz, but he is a consultant in his late 20s, so he's young, and he sort of burst onto the scene as Zoran Mamdani's key political advisor, and then as Plattner's strategist. But before that, Katz was the ad maker for John Fetterman's 2022 campaign. He was one of the key strategists on Dan Osborne's independent run for Senate in Nebraska in 2024. So there's been a certain kind of working class, coded, populist campaign that Katz has really become central in defining. So here was this guy who people really hadn't heard of before, and was the right-hand man of the two Democratic politicians probably getting the most press this year. And now, among both the left and the center, the knives are out for him. You have all these stories about the slipshod way he was running the campaign. You had a DSA letter being circulated trying to argue that...
I mean, if we're being entirely real, this was always going to happen because he was just doing identity politics. Like, this is the inevitable end of identity politics that a lot of people don't realize. I think leftists realize it when it comes to black people, but don't realize it when it comes to white people. Right? When you're so focused on identity, removed from policy, you're going to end up attached to identity. And they attach themselves to identity of somebody who was bad and not good. Whereas Katz, I'm pretty sure, is the one that somebody refused to hire because he had sexual misconduct allegations. No, I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody else. I'm pretty sure it was somebody else. White aid poll, he's a white guy saying the right things. Yeah. It wasn't him. That's what I thought. I thought it was somebody else.
The DSA shouldn't work with him any longer. And I think you can really see this one both ways. Katz made genuinely huge mistakes. It is very possible that the failure to effectively vet Plattner could have cost Democrats the Senate this year. Katz has also clearly figured...
That is true, though. Funnily enough, that is actually true. Is that, like, them not vetting Plattner, one, but also adhering to identity politics and getting Plattner in the first place could genuinely cost Democrats the Senate. Actually. There was a very open pathway to winning the Senate, and this could very well have killed that. It could be like 49-51 or 50-50 in the Senate because of this. And that's crazy. Maybe this was a log play. Maybe, but like it seems like a roundabout way to do the plan, though. Find a rapist, get him to run, and then get people excited about him, but then also have the rape thing come out, and then you lose the Senate. Super so. I don't know.
Something out about this political moment that strategists many years his senior have not. So I wanted to have him on the show. Ask him both about what he clearly...
I think him going on Ezra Klein's show kind of just shows a lot about him, though, you know?
Got right, and what he just as clearly got wrong. As always, my email, EzraKleinShow@nytimes.com. Morris Katz, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ezra. It's good to be here.
So we're talking in the aftermath of Graham Plattner's campaign imploding after a credible accusation of rape. There's a lot of people angry at you, some of the people you worked with, for poorly vetting Plattner, but also, I think, for attacking people who are trying to raise the alarm on him. So now that you've had some time to digest what's happened, what do you think went wrong?
I think a lot of the critiques...
Is he Nepo baby? Oh, is he? I was listening.
To rape people you worked with.
Good to be here.
So we're talking in the aftermath of Graham Plattner's campaign imploding after a credible accusation.
He's 27 years old. His hairline does not say 27. Ezra Klein has a better hairline than he does. No offense to him, though.
There's a lot of people angry at you.
Wikipedia search? Oh, okay.
Some of the people you worked with for poorly vetting.
Who's his Nepo? Who's his parents?
Plattner, but also, I think, for attacking people who are trying to raise the alarm on him. So now that you've had some time to digest what's happened, what do you think went wrong?
I think a lot of the critiques and anger are fully valid. You know, like I think I've been very critical of the Democratic establishment frequently, and where those critiques come from is not that
children's book author and screenwriter, any famous stuff. Plattner's still banned here. Depends on what you're going to say about him. This guy about to apologize better than 90% of online leftists for banning Plattner.
Make mistakes. It's that they make the same mistakes over and over again.
To be fair, his career kind of hinges on it. You feel me? His career kind of hinges on him apologizing.
And because learning from those lessons would pose a threat to their kind of power.
He's a
and
TV screenwriter, the worst kind of screenwriters.
I don't want to do that. And I think there are like things here, many of the critiques that have been made that are incredibly valid and things to learn from. You know, I think the conversation around the vetting, there is no standard vetting process that would have found the credible allegation that ended the.
That's not true. Actually not true. Because opposition research found it. Anything that Oppo research found, you should find. Any vetting process worth its salt, ones that exist, would go to his ex-girlfriends and been like, what's up? You know what I mean? They would have done that opposition research. They would have went out and found out if he was like a player or whatever. Everything. They don't start with like, oh, you're a rapist or whatever, but they're like, is there anything that could reflect poorly on you? If he says no, you hire like a freaking private investigator to investigate Graham Plattner himself and his history and his past. Right? You look up his social media posts and his history. You request the data from the social media platforms, right? Like there are things, if anything that opposition research could do, you do that. Anything that your oppo could conceivably do, you do that. Right? You do that thing. And if you didn't do that, you didn't do it well enough. So if he's showing flight camera data frequently when they cook out, true. When they should to cook out. Is it possible to do ignoring how much vetting black candidates get? I mean,
campaign.
Yeah.
You know, Eric Swalwell served on the House Intelligence Committee for a decade and then saw similar allegations in his campaign. That being said, I think in hindsight, knowing what we know now, the Reddit posts alone probably should have been enough. Or should have been enough.
Oh, really? Oh, really? It's almost like you knew that back in October. It's funny. Okay. There are people who defended Plattner who've always said that we never could have known. And this is the Plattner guy. This is the Plattner guy who was like, yeah, maybe the Reddit post should have been enough, actually. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying that. I have been saying that. This is the leftist version of Charlemagne versus academics. Which one is which? Oh, Ezra Klein is Charlemagne. No, yeah, no. Ugh. Why don't ask me that question? I wonder where they're getting that message from. Jeez Louise.
The tattoo should have been enough. The initial New York Times story on troubling behavior should have been enough.
Oh, really?
Both.
Oh, really? The initial New York Times story should have been enough? Oh, if only there were people who were telling you that it should have been enough, that everybody was shouting down until it got to this point as well. It's almost like there were red flags that everybody ignored, and there has to be some introspection about why you ignored those red flags. Like, come on.
Things can be true, that we need different kinds of candidates running outside of the political arena, and that it's the United States Senate. And candidacies should be held to an incredibly high standard. And there are a lot of incredible people who are not part of the political arena, a lot of incredible working class Americans across the country who don't have those problematic Reddit posts, or who don't have a problematic tattoo, or don't have quite the level of controversy in their past.
You would describe the Reddit post for him at one point as an asset.
I think that there was a belief that I am still kind of wrestling with. I think over the course of the campaign, one of the things that was really, frankly, inspiring to see is I think we have so little grace in our politics and so little room for nuance. And it felt like this opened up a lot of those conversations. You know, you saw people just extend.
Wait, what do you mean? He literally just said that Eric Swalwell was like in Congress as a rapist for like years. So there is grace for people. You gave this person grace. Whatever.
Such grace and open up their hearts and be willing to hope and believe in not just that we could change our politics, but that people could change. And I think like that was something we needed. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want people's lesson from this to be that there should never be room for grace. And I think that there are a lot of...
Which nobody was saying, by the way. People were just saying, hey, the grace you're giving this guy is unwarranted. And you shouted them down.
There are a lot of people who've made mistakes or said controversial things who we want to win the support of, who we need to earn the trust of. But I also think I was wrong. And not to say that everyone who has said controversial things on Reddit would then have things like this come out. Like I don't think that's the case. But it's to say that there's a higher risk there of it happening when there are things like that, and there's too much at stake, and there are so many people who don't have that potential liability. And it's the United States Senate.
I want to go back to the beginning of it. The story has been somewhat told by Dan Marov, but I haven't really heard you tell it in public. So
I think Dan was the guy.
Graham Plattner, how did you find him? What was the process that led you to him?
The initial kind of factor that led to the broader efforts of recruitment in Maine was a lot of angst around Janet Mills being the presumptive nominee. This was someone who was polling as one of the least popular governors in the country, who would have been the oldest freshman member of the United States Senate in Senate history, and who had made a lot of enemies out of key components of Maine, labor unions, tribes, and a network of us kind of connected with different local folks, labor leaders, organization leaders, with a vision of...
I think, okay, he's also not saying that the part that started before this is they were just like, we need Maine to win the Senate. Let's just go to Maine. Like, and this is kind of the problem with politics, like, of this kind of sort. This is no different than institutional politics, right? This is some guy from outside of Maine who was like, let me just get involved with Maine politics because I know better. You feel me? Like, that's craziness. That's insanity. That's not how you do politics. You do politics by going on the ground, right? Well, first of all, the people on the ground need they don't need you to be like, let me tell you what to do. They need support from the national movement as a whole, right? But politics that starts from the perspective of like, we just want to win, as opposed to like actually trying to help the people in the, in these districts, in these states, will always fail. You feel me? That's why it takes time and effort to talk to people in Maine, talk to Mainers, talk about what they want, what they need, right? And build it from there instead of being like, all right, I know what's best. We're gonna do this now, because obviously you didn't know what was best, right? Because if you actually talk to people in Maine, you might have found that like Graham Plattner has a history with women, because it came out that he has a history with a lot of women. Right, but they went in with like their filters already locked. They were like, we need a white guy who's rough and tumbled, and has this gruffly voice and has this look of like a working class man, and they started from that. You feel me? Then the Maine union organizers recommend Plattner. We don't know what the process was about how recommendation came in, right? What we do know is that they were looking specifically for a white guy, right? We know they went into Maine as like, we're looking for this specific thing, right? And that's starting at identity politics, and you're never gonna come to the end of you're gonna reach the end of politics and saving people and helping people's lives, right? You're never gonna reach liberation starting politics by saying we need this white guy to attract white people, right? Maine was just the setting the story took place in, and not a place where people live. Right? Like I don't think he cares about Maine at all. That's kind of my point. I don't think him or Dan Morov or any of the other organizers care about Maine or its people. I think for them, Maine was a thing that they could use, right, to serve their interests and their goals. And you're never going to reach liberation by using entire states of people as pawns in your political game. You feel me? And that's the problem is his mindset. The mindset of how he got to this in the first place. Right? It's removed from the interpersonal, right? From the on the ground. And it starts from a high level. How do we win power electorally? Right? What you need to do is you need to talk to the people who are the most impacted by these issues. You need to build community with them and not use them to serve your purposes. Right? You're never going to, like, you know, build trust and support with people if you just walk up like you own the place and be like, this is what we're going to do. They got lucky. Graham was able to center Maine struggles effectively because it wasn't their plan. Nope. They hoped that, like, his identity could ground him, and then maybe if he said some of the right stuff, people would listen because of his identity. But they never tried to, like, understand what Maine was, you know? They never tried to humanize people who lived in Maine. I think most people don't know that much about Maine. Well, that's why most people don't need to be going to Maine to try to field candidates. Right? Again, it's the difference between top down and bottom up, right? Morris Katz was doing top down. He was doing top down. He flew in from out of state, top down, building it from a national organizational power into Maine instead of building from bottom up in Maine. Instead of giving the people of Maine the tools that they can to field their own candidates. Right? Because that takes a lot more work, a lot more effort. Interesting to me is Morris handpicked Platinum directly after working for Zoran's campaign. So to me, it seems like he influences Graham policy rather than Graham's own experiences on the ground. That potentially could be the case. I want to know if they talk about that. All right, because again, Graham Plattner was ideologically inconsistent on what he believed. So I can see that being the case.
Recruitment, and I think one of the important factors in that is, there's been a lot of criticism obviously around it, but many of the people, and I still believe this, who are best equipped to serve are not people who are going to raise their hand and sign up for it. And so there was a lot of conversation.
I mean, he raised his hand and signed up for war multiple times. So, I don't know. Saying this and then fielding Graham Plattner is kind of hilarious. Because he literally did raise his hand to sign up for serving. Objectively. He objectively raised his hand to serve multiple times. So even if you believe that, you know what I mean? That it didn't necessarily hit.
Around, the kind of candidate who could win Maine would be a veteran, would be someone from outside of the Portland area, a community in which Trump won, and someone tied to an industry that has a specific resonance in Maine. The kind of waterfront industry was a leading factor there, and that was then a broader process and a series of meetings that led folks to Graham.
So you're looking in a way for someone who's doing lobstering, who's an oyster farmer, who's a fisherman, right? You're looking for, you're almost casting a candidate.
I think it's listening to the kind of specificities of an area and the specificities of the problems facing that area, and seeing like,
what? You're like, man, this area, Maine loves oysters. We need to get an oyster farmer? Is that the take? I don't get it. I don't understand. I wasn't listening that well though.
Who's the voice that should be representing these people in?
Yeah, but you realize by doing that, you're not representing them well. You can't be like, who's the voice who represents these people so I can field them and then serve them to these people on a silver platter? You should be going to these places and being like, hey, who do you want to represent you? That's the difference between top down and bottom up, right? Top down is like, who do I think as somebody outside of this state would represent Maine the best versus going to Maine. And this is the problem where like I think he thinks that Mainers are stupid. Which, are they stupid? I don't know. But like you can't think that way while you're trying to win an election. Again, he thinks he knows better than them. He thinks I know best. I know best, and I know what people in Maine want. I know they still got Susan Collins. I mean, again, the Americans elected Donald Trump, so most people don't vote by and large. Most of the country doesn't vote, so I don't think you use like who's elected as like a barometer of like why people are like, you know, intelligent or not intelligent, right? But like the idea that like you know what people in Maine will vote for better than people in Maine comes from an outside top-down perspective that's not built in building community with people, right? Like that's a reason why Graham Plattner had so many skeletons in his closet. And you would know this if you talked to the people of Maine. He was running through the town as a menace. He was flagrantly cheating on his wife with like 7 different women at the same time, like across his life. Cheating on multiple different women with each other, and then cheating on his wife as well, right? Being violent, right? Committing sexual assault, right? And abuse. Like, and you would know stuff like this if you talk to the people in the community. That's why you have to talk to the people within the community so they can tell you stuff like this. You build community with people. This is not a foolproof plan. Rapists still get elected, obviously, right? But when you have this top-down, I know better than you perspective, that's how you end up with the John Fettermans and the Graham Plattners. This guy is batting 1 for 3 right now. Literally, he's batting 1 for 3.
Washington, who should be fighting for them in Washington, who's most in touch. I think we have a problem of like the lived realities of so many of the people who run for office are so disconnected from the lived realities of the people they're running to represent. There is a friction there that is impossible to reconcile. And so how do you overcome that? You need people who don't have that same gap.
So why not somebody like Troy Jackson, right? Who's now going to be, it looks to be the nominee. And I find this interesting because Jackson is somebody who, you know, I think 5th generation logger, if I'm not wrong, very, very populist politics. Doesn't have Plattner's charisma. I think it is fair to say that. Has been a state Senate president there. Has this kind of mix of like the right politics, but also, you know, an insider, a person who's been in politics for a while. Was that why he was not the sort of exciting figure for you guys?
Troy was really committed to running for governor at the time. I think if Troy Jackson was running for Senate, there would not have been a process.
What did you see in Plattner when you first met him? What was that conversation like?
I saw someone who lived on the same road he grew up on, who clearly loved Maine a lot, and who I thought really articulated in a powerful way both a story that could capture the anger and angst that so many people feel over the status quo, but also had like an affirmative vision of what government could do about it.
How many people did you and Maraf and Leanne collectively meet with before settling on Plattner?
There were a number of meetings of which I was not a part of, but the kind of entire process was not limited. You know, it was an extended process that landed on Graham.
And it was an effort to convince him, right?
I do think it is kind of funny that these people, this is why he's like a tell the millennials, right? Or even Gen Z, he's got Gen Z, right? They should have what they should have done is just shut up. You know what I mean? They should have done their shadow, candidate fielding, shut their mouth until they actually, won elections and stuff. Right? And they could have kept doing this in the background, but they needed to be on camera so bad that they needed to have credit for their work. They wanted the glory so bad. Exactly. They needed to have credit for their work. They went on doing interviews about why Graham Plattner is their guy, and now they have to do damage control and cleanup because they were writing for this guy in public as like their man, their guy. What they should have done is they should have had like an LLC or whatever, an ad agency that like did this stuff behind the scenes that they were like the shadow organizers of. And when Graham Plattner failed, you cut him loose and say you had nothing to do with that. But now you ruined your own reputation for what? For Graham?
Yes.
Read like there were like 30 some efforts to
Yes, and
tell
like
you
I
guys
think
to get
he'd
off
been,
his lawn. and-
Yes, yeah. He had been. I think the state senate tried to recruit him in 2020. He had been. I think a number of people had reached out over the years of you should run for office. You should run for office, and he had a kind of he liked what his life was and articulated a skepticism of it being possible to defeat Janet Mills, and so it was a running process.
So I know when you did settle on him, there was a vetting document created. What did that document find?
The document found a Reddit account. Essentially, there was.
I'm sorry. If after everything and all of your vetting, you only found the Reddit account, pack it up. What did you just Google his name? Did you just Google his name and be like, well, it wasn't on the first page of Google, so it's fine?
There were problematic posts on Reddit, not the full degree of what later came out, but that was the extent of what that document found. And I think like an even more robust process would have found more of the specific Reddit comments and potentially the tattoo. But again, like a
more extensive one. Oh my goodness, bro. Yes, when you're fielding candidates, you have to do a more extensive one. He's like, bro, all we found was the Reddit account. That's kind of it.
Process probably doesn't uncover most of the things that came after.
So one of Plattner's old Reddit posts regarding victims of sexual assault stated, "Holy fuck, how about people just take some responsibility for themselves and not get so fucked up they wind up having sex they don't mean to." So that's from 2013. What do you think when you hear it now?
I think it should have been a red line.
Why wasn't it? See, if Ezra Klein was a journalist worth his salt at all, his next question would be, why wasn't it a red line? Why did you look past it?
I think, he talked about it being like one of the things he regretted saying the most, that it was indicative of a time of his life when he was lost, when he was angry, and that it was in no way reflective of who he was. And
gonna skip all the vetting process himself since he was double babied. So it makes sense that he didn't even consider vetting even more thoroughly. Yeah, he's like, I've been vetted like that, so it's fine.
Talk about the need for a different kind of standard for public office. I think we can both have a standard of which a normal person can say something deeply hurtful and harmful online and not be exiled from society and day-to-day life.
Yeah, but he's a rapist, Morris. So, like, he's not just a normal person. Is Ezra Klein even a journalist? No, he's not. He's not a journalist. For normal life is not from the Senate. True.
If they've changed, if they're putting the work to change, but also that doesn't mean that they're entitled to a role in elected office.
So I'm a big believer in grace in politics, and I think that we need to create a lot of space for
unless you're pro-Palestine, in which case Ezra Klein will want you murdered. These people never understand why diversity is of thought is important. They always prioritize fast over right.
Everybody from politicians to voters.
Morse.
One of the things that really shifted my thinking on Plattner, though, was something that you did know early on, which is about him sexting as many as a dozen women in the early...
That's what it is? That's your red line, Ezra? The literal least consequential thing that he's done in his entire life is your red line? The sex thing is your problem? Not the Nazi tattoo, not the 4 tours in Blackwater, not his misogyny or anti-black racism, not his violent language, not being a guard at Abu Ghraib. Like, none of that it was him sexting people at the same time. I prefer my Nazis to be monogamous, yeah. Jeez Louise. Also, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some food.
Early days of his
BRB.
marriage. So there was this narrative that I found, at least I was very open to it, which is this is a guy with a dark past, with a tough past, who put in a lot of work and changed. And he asked to be judged on his present. So when that came out, it made me wonder about his present, and particularly what it made me wonder about fundamentally was his honesty. But, we sort of publicly didn't know that for quite some time. It was brought to the campaign early on through his wife, Amy. What did you think when you learned about that, and why, sort of combined with some of these other things, the Totenkopf tattoo, the Reddit posts, why did that not begin to worry you more about whether or not he could actually be trusted in what he was saying?
I think it both did worry me more, and some of those concerns at the time were eased by the communication from Amy herself and from Graham of that this was something that they worked through extensively in their marriage that seemed like a kind of good faith engagement of two married people working through a difficult thing and working through it together and handling it in all the ways that, that one would handle something like that once it came up. And I wanted to, I think, respect both the privacy of their marriage in that, and also even I think there's a difference between consensual sexting and the allegations that ended the campaign. And I think I was trying to kind of hold room for all of those different things at once. And I think it does I think the challenge of all of this was as someone who does deeply believe in grace and in nuance and the fact that people are complicated and life is complicated and maybe politics should reflect a little bit more of that. There was a constant weighing of how much is too much. And what is the red line? And I think obviously I did not see it soon enough.
Other people who were involved did see a red line sooner. So Genevieve McDonald was the campaign's political director. She resigned back in October 2025. Around a lot of, she knew about the sexting, she knew about the Reddit posts, the Totenkopf tattoo. And so it's been reported that when you heard she was speaking to the Wall Street Journal about Plattner's cheating, you demanded she retract her comments, that she send you a recording of her talking to the reporters, retracting her comments, and if not, sort of you would attack her for sabotaging the campaign. Do you owe her an apology? Have you apologized to her?
So there are parts of that description that I would take some issue with. I think the thing on that specific issue that I was articulating was I believe that it was a violation of Amy's privacy. And of, for all the conversation about vetting, part of what the vetting process requires is a lot of honesty and transparency from candidates. And when, as a team, you go to them and say, hey, we need you to tell us everything, part of what didn't work in this instance is when there was not full transparency. And in that specific instance, Amy came to her and was fully honest, and to see Amy's trust violated like that, and to see that kind of practice that allows campaigns to operate and us to get to a place of honesty violated like that was, I think, frustrating.
I think I can understand that. And on the other hand, I think one of the questions is, what is the responsibility of a campaign to the public, right? The people around a candidate who maybe know more than the public knows, or frankly, to the party or to the larger project of the politics. I mean, what seems to me to have happened, there are a number of people who resigned from the campaign over time.
I'm back.
So when that
hurtful and harmful online to
create a lot of space for people to change, everybody from politicians to voters. One of the things that really shifted my thinking on Plattner, though, was something that you did know early on, which is about him sexting as many as a dozen women in the early days of his marriage. So there was this narrative that I found, at least I was very open to it, which is this is a guy with a dark past, with a tough past, who put in a lot of work and changed. And he
Based on what? Please. Based on what? Where is the evidence that he's changed? There was no evidence that he was not a violent person anymore. It's not like he was a former Republican. You want me asking for the work that he's did since he done his past? Jeez Louise, Nixie. You just busted my door open. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come up. Look who it is. Sit. Sit. Good doggy. Oh, look at her. High five. High five. Yeah. Woo. She's very big now. She's still here. She's just there. Look at her eyes. She got piercing eyes. Okay, let's continue.
Present. So when that came out, it made me wonder about his present, and particularly what it made me wonder about fundamentally was his honesty. But, we sort of publicly didn't know that for quite some time. It was brought to the campaign early on through his wife, Amy. What did you think when you learned about that, and why, sort of combined with some of these other things, the Totenkopf tattoo, the Reddit posts, why did that not begin to worry you more about whether or not he could actually be trusted?
This is my dog. Okay, here she goes.
In what he was saying.
I think it both did worry me more, and some of those concerns at the time were eased by the communication from Amy herself and from Graham, that this was something that they worked through extensively in their marriage that seemed like a kind of good faith engagement of two married people working through a difficult thing and working through it together and handling it in all the ways that, that one would handle something like that once it came up. And I wanted to, I think, respect both the privacy of their marriage in that, and also even I think there's a difference between
genuinely. I think the problem is that he doesn't have a red flag where I have my red flags at. If I was a, Democratic socialist, leftist, or whatever, and I was fielding a candidate, and they were a part of Blackwater, it would be an immediate no. It would find somebody else. It would be an immediate no, and say thanks but no thanks. We would find somebody else. Just morally. Unless they genuinely said, I regretted it, I shouldn't have done it, and I dedicate my life to standing against imperialism.
between consensual sexting and the allegations that ended the campaign. And I think I was trying to kind of hold room for all of those different things at once. And I think it does I think the challenge of all of this was as someone who does deeply believe in grace and in nuance and the fact that people are complicated and life is complicated and maybe politics should reflect a little bit more of that, there was a constant weighing of how much is too much. And what is the red line? And I think obviously I did not see it soon enough.
Other people who were involved did see a red line sooner. So Genevieve McDonald was the campaign's political director. She resigned back in October 2025. Around a lot of, she knew about the sexting, she knew about the Reddit posts, the Totenkopf tattoo. And so it's been reported that when you heard she was speaking to the Wall Street Journal about Plattner's cheating, you demanded she retract her comments, that she send you a recording of her talking to the reporters, retracting her comments, and if not, sort of you would like attack her for sabotaging the campaign.
What? He blackmailed? He was extorting a former campaign worker and said, if you don't send me a recording of you retracting your comments, I'm going to attack you? Is that a thing that actually happened? This guy's insane. Hey, Nixie. That's literally wild. Come here. I know. Don't lick me. Don't lick me. Don't lick me. Stop. I know. Is that, by the way, in a college dropout? Bro, how does a 27-year-old get this much power, bro? Ugh, stop. That's gross. Aw. Hey, you wanna leave me? Don't leave me, please. Where you going? Where you going? Okay, fine. What? Come here. Come here. No, where you going? Come here. Come on. Good, Dougie. Sit. Good, Dougie. Outside? No? Okay. Oh, right, Nipple Baby. I forgot. Nipple Baby. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you owe her an apology?
Nixie.
Have you apologized to her?
So there are parts of that description that I would take some issue with. I think the thing on that specific issue that I was articulating was, I believe that it was a violation of Amy's privacy, and of part of the.
So you threatened her? I'm sorry. That doesn't know. It's a violation of Amy's privacy to talk about how this guy who's running for the Senate, right, has a fidelity issue. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. Sorry, excuse me. This reminds me of Kat's campaign where it's based on a foreign policy advisor that had no experience. This cannot be a coincidence. Yeah, I just like, again, there's a fine line between not wanting to work with the establishment and like hiring incompetent people with zero experience at all. There has to be some middle ground there, right? Some middle ground between hiring like freaking Liz Smith and hiring some dude who has no experience literally at all. Am I crazy on that?
The conversation about vetting, part of what the vetting process requires is a lot of honesty and transparency from candidates. And when, as a team, you go to them and say, hey, we need you to tell us everything, part of what didn't work in this instance is when there was not full transparency. And in that specific instance, Amy came to her and was fully honest, and to see Amy's trust violated like that, and to see that kind of practice that allows campaign.
What does this have to do with why you were fine with it, though? And why you threatened her? That doesn't make sense.
To operate and us to get to a place of honesty violated like that was, I think, frustrating.
I think I can understand that. And on the other hand, I think one of the questions is, what is the responsibility of a campaign to the public, right? The people around a candidate who maybe know more than the public knows, or frankly to the party or to the larger project of the politics. I mean, what seems to me to have happened, there are a number of people who resigned from the campaign over time. I sort of had this impression from the outside. No one thing until the final revelation was, to me, disqualifying for Plattner.
Yeah, because you're a loser and dumb. Everything was disqualifying for Plattner, for the most part. up until this point. It was just like straws that keep breaking the camel's back. The camel was already dead by this straw. There was too many straws. His back was already broken. So he's like, listen, Morris, we agree on this. Graham Potter was actually a sick guy, but like, he was also a bit too progressive for me. So I need to come at you anyway, even though we agree that, like, you know, we couldn't have known.
But, you know, I said this on a podcast a bit ago. It seemed like a lot of smoke, like a lot of decisions that didn't look great. And you just wonder, like, what is there that you don't know? And also, is this a person who should be in the Senate? And so I think I can both really understand the frustration you must have had at people sort of revealing things that were in the campaign or confirming things that have been coming out in internal vetting. And on the other hand, there is this complicated question of what happens when the campaign consultants know things that maybe the public should know.
I think, and just to like be clear on one of the points, you know, we did not know. There's been like speculation of what we knew around some of the more serious later allegations and when, and we did not know until the day or two prior to that story coming out that there was a credible and serious allegation of rape.
That's not what they were talking about. One, you should have known, but two, that's also not what Ezra was talking about. He's talking about all the other stuff that you defended. You knew about a lot of that other stuff. You knew about stuff that was, like, controversial and disqualifying. So on Open Secret, it was clear reporters knew and had vetted stories. Collins' teams knew. Obviously, the wife found out there were issues that went to the campaign. Yeah, and then the campaign was like, "It's fine. We'll deal with it. We'll bury it." Instead of being like, "Okay, if this is true and he lied to us about this, what else is he lying to us about?" That should have gave them pause, right? And actually did their own investigating. They should have realized at that point that their vetting was not enough, and did vetting part 2, double the electric boogaloo. Double vetting. They didn't do it though. Right? Because they wanted to protect their own like little candidate.
And so the kind of area we were in of the things we knew were sexting, Reddit, tattoo land. And I think to your point,
tattoo land,
none of those things alone in a vacuum was necessarily disqualifying. And also,
you also realize that neither party brought up his Blackwater service. Just want to point that out, because it's not disqualifying for liberals. They didn't even prep him for his own story. Okay, you prep this, but you didn't know his full story.
There was so much momentum and energy from the voters in Maine, who, Graham was traveling across the state. The campaign was building a movement of thousands and thousands of volunteers, bringing people off the sidelines. And I think that friction of really wanting to believe. And I think, I say to my candidates a lot, I think a lot of candidates' greatest strengths are their greatest weaknesses. You're an outsider, but you're inexperienced, or you're experienced, but you're part of the establishment. You're a policy wonk, but then you're overly in the weeds. And I think I think it's true for people in general. I think one of it is I take the work that I do, I think, very personally, and am maybe naive at times in the sense of wanting a different kind of politics to be possible, and feeling that friction of sensing, yes, this is a lot of smoke, and kind of being almost disoriented by that, but then also the euphoria of seeing a politics of what could be possible, of town halls of hundreds and hundreds of people in areas Trump won, talking about the New Deal and a different kind of populist politics and taking on corruption, and Republicans saying that they
wait a minute. That DSA lady is a Trump supporter? In 2021, sorry, this is literally not at all relevant to the discussion. That's old news. I didn't know that. Did I know that? DSA for a week, by the way. Yeah, I knew that because I made a tweet about it because it was funny. I said from an outside perspective, I love that you can join the DSA, get into inter-organizational discourse, leave 2 days later, and then get interviewed about how you know better than everyone else and how the organization needs to split. Give me that confidence and I'd be unstoppable. And like, she's out here being like, narcissistic people are children trying to get seen somehow. I absolutely agree with the comment. I am a Trump supporter. Everybody is with the virus, we black confidence with a white person. That's crazy. Not because of who he is or his personality, but the policy outside of the madness. What policies? Why does this person have 40,000 followers on Twitter? As Lefty Winter. I just love the idea that she joined the DSA, joined a DSA right caucus immediately, started to complain about the socialists in the DSA, and saying that the right caucus needs to split with DSA left and the communists, and then leaving the organization and then getting interviewed on New York Times about why they should split. Like, that's hilarious. That's really funny. Trying to disprove the grip to the left method. True. How'd you get into the DSA? I don't think it's difficult to get into the DSA. I think anyone who actively identifies as reformed, anything is suspicious. It's still central to your identity. The reform part is more about feeling guilty than the actual grind past it. Yeah, that's why I hate the entire, like, we need to focus on, like, former Trump supporters, former Republicans. I'm glad we kind of moved away from that, by the way. That sucked. There was an entire period of time where it's like, guys, former Republicans are our best allies because they know how to speak to other Republicans or whatever. And it's like, these are the former Republicans we're talking about, you know? They do show up to a new members meeting. It's not like they vet people just joining. Yeah, but it's hilarious that, like, she joined and left within 2 days. That's really funny. It's funny because what I've seen, she's unified in DSA and hating her. Yeah. Honestly, for the best, probably. It is really funny. I will stand on that. That is hilarious. That is really funny.
Have enough, and independents saying they hadn't voted for cycles, but this campaign was bringing them up, and the friction of all of those things, I think was a lot. And if I was doing it over again, I would do a lot of it differently. But that was kind of what was happening.
One of the things that McDonald has said is that she did come to you and she started trying to vet Plattner more herself. We reached out to her, we weren't able to talk to her, but that Fight Consultancy, you all were not interested in going further down the vetting pathway. And she's expressed a lot of anger about that. And I mean, the finance director resigned. Like, there were people who felt something was going wrong. And I wonder, just in the sense of what you are trying to learn from this, if you look back on those conversations, if you look back on people sensing that something was up here, what were these other members of the campaign beginning to see that eventually proved out true, even if they didn't know exactly what would prove out true eventually, that sort of you and Fight didn't?
Well, so I think, like, you know, Fight's not a vetting agency. Like, that's not a service.
Then what are you? And if you're not, why did you not employ a vetting agency? I'm confused.
We offer. We work with campaigns, and campaigns work with vetting professionals. I think there's a fair critique of, you know, Fight putting more pressure, me putting more pressure on people to ensure that their vetting process taking place is responsible and robust. And I don't recall that conversation that Genevieve is outlining. I think there was a mix of different kind of personal dynamics in some of those decisions, but I also think, you know, they were right to feel that something was amiss earlier.
One of Plattner's accusers was Lindsay Fifield, who had been in partnership with him and accused him, it came out in the Times story, of being physically abusive when they were together. She's worked in conservative politics, and so there was a real...
I stopped listening to him. I got bored.
Rush to say that this was just politically motivated. She was just a Republican trying to destroy his campaign. her story really bothered me for two reasons. One, obviously the abuse, but the other was a contemporaneous, her telling other people, like, look, this guy told me his tattoo was a Totenkopf. I had always been pretty skeptical of the tattoo.
Again, I just like, okay, we're not doing this. Mostly because I have to do my contractual obligation. But I just can't listen to Ezra Klein talk. I can't do it. I can't do it. This is bad. It's just, he's just like, have you considered that, I don't like his hair. I think his hair was actually disqualifying. Like, not the other stuff. The other stuff wasn't disqualifying. Just his hair. Also, a cherished Teddy, thank you for the prime. Much appreciated. Chat, you know your primes are free still. Right? I may not have shouted out as often, but your primes, they're free. They actually don't really cost you much. Or anything at all, as long as you have an Amazon Prime account. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting it out there. It's free. It's free. Free ballin'. Said I'm free. Free ballin'. About Avatar? What about Avatar? Oh no, I didn't. Maybe tomorrow. Yo, I have not played rank in like 3 months. No, probably I haven't played ranked in like 8 months, honestly. Ranked is scary now. Because I haven't played in so long. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm closing all the tabs. Oh no, I think I closed my YouTube tab. Remind me to end. Oh, I should not end YouTube right now. Bye YouTube. Goodbye.